Oh, you know what I love?
Sports.
Love sports.
Sports. When
It comes to
Texas A&M.
Where are you getting this information?
let me tell you.
Welcome to TexAgs.
TexAgs Live.
I feel like I should be listening to the theme song from the Jeffersons. You know, we're moving on up.
We will develop men, we will graduate players, and we will win championships on the field.
The best way for us to win is to do it together.
He is a guy that has gotten better and better and better. He's just got that dog in him.
This one's special. The 12th man this past week was unbelievable.
100% ready to go. It's been a long time coming, and I just can't wait to be out there.
That's why we play football in the SEC, trying to go get it done.
You know, if I'm betting on anybody, it's the Aggies. And you know, the best way to do this show is to do it together. Welcome into TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in our Rollo Insurance studio at the Angry Elephant in South College Station.
Very nice here.
It's kind of the second home.
Yeah, it's getting that way.
Yeah.
It's our second time in what, 3-4 weeks?
Greg Jasper told us that we're going to have to start paying rent as often as we're here. So, you know, that's fine.
So everybody come out and join us here at the Angry Elephant. All you Aggie fans, get ready for the LSU game tomorrow. Help us pay that rent.
Yeah, help pay that rent. We got some great guests coming up on the program. By the way, it's the Go Hour presented by The Warehouse at CC Creations, where you can get your TexAgs merch. OB, we've got Andrew Monaco coming here shortly.
Good man.
So we're shifting up the schedule a little bit to make sure that we get ample time with Andrew Monaco. After that, Michael Earley. Early in the morning.
Early in the morning, early in the evening.
He'll be here
all the time.
He'll be here at the Angry Elephant for our 9 o'clock, part of our 9 o'clock hour. Brauninger and Liucci going to handle most of those duties as I'm going to just I'm going to do what you do. You're really good at, like, you maneuver through the room because you're friendly, Olin. People think I'm like intense and mad. I'm not. You are intense and mad, but very happy at the same time.
I am, especially when we have our listeners and our subscribers and our readers, texters with us.
Yes.
Because, of course, without them, we have no job.
This is correct. Don't remind them of that because they may stop coming. And then we also have Billy Liucci. You're familiar with his work.
I am.
I already said him, actually.
Was he in The Godfather?
Fredo? Just kidding.
Even said it, Billy.
Yeah. He's not up. Let's be honest. He's not listening yet. He'll listen to this segment just in about 15 minutes. He catches up. And then we have the McKinney brothers, as we always do here. Yeah. And you never know. It could get a little crazy.
So you want to get crazy.
You told me, I didn't know this story, but there's apparently some beef. And I'm not talking 1775 beef. We're talking some beef between an Aggie lineman. Is that right?
Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit more?
Okay. So bear with me here because I don't understand X or Twitter jargon. You know, and how the young kids express themselves.
I'm in the community. I can help out.
Okay. So Pro Football Focus puts out a tweet on Trey Zune. It says 213 pass block snaps and 0 sacks allowed.
That's good. Last time I checked, that's what you want your linemen to do.
Braden Swinton, the LSU's leader in sacks.
I think
he's an edge rusher.
Yep, he's good.
So he retweeted that with a picture of Hank Hill.
Yep.
Looks like he's pondering or something. I don't know why that's necessarily offensive, or if that's offensive, or if it's a shot. I don't know.
The way I look at it is like, oh, really? Okay, well, we're going to have to change that stat up this weekend. That's how I take it.
To which Armaj Reed Adams tweets back again. Twitter with that to that picture. Twitter fingers over there gone. Get his hands broke. Hashtag beat the hell out of LSU.
So you know where that's from, right?
What, the beat the hell out of LSU?
Twitter fingers.
Oh, no, I don't get that one.
Our good friend Aubrey Drake, the rapper. I know you're a big Drake guy. He's got a lyric where he talks about Twitter fingers, seeing you get bodied by an angry person.
Oh, okay. To which, from that, Swinton
a little back and forth.
Yeah, he tweeted back, "You stuck on my field for 4 quarters. Don't be silent when we between the white."
Pardon, say what?
With a couple of
I'm sorry, I couldn't understand
with
that.
a couple of skull and crossbone emojis.
Oh, it's like Halloween. I get it. Yeah, okay.
You stuck on my field for 4 quarters. Don't be silent when we between the white, which I guess
You're
is
stuck on the field that you're stuck on the field that I'm visiting because it isn't my field. And what was the other part?
Don't be silent when we between the white. So
please continue to talk, please, when we are inside the white lines.
On the field, on the Kyle field,
okay,
playing surface. Hey, I like that. I like the exchange.
I like it when we win. I don't like it when we don't win.
Well, I would interpret that you're going to get the very best out of Amaj Reed Adams.
I hope so.
I know so. Linemen, even if they have to make themselves pissed off.
I like when he breaks chairs.
Yes,
I'm a big fan of the chair breaking.
He broke a chair.
Well, he slams them. I think he did break one in Florida. I believe he did. I might be wrong here, but I believe he did.
I broke one when I sat in it once.
Yeah, more than one time. Yeah. I think at TexAgs a couple of them.
Yeah, probably.
All right, let's run our mouths. Brought to you by the Brothers Running Company, your local Aggie-owned specialty running store where you can find Brooks on Hoka shoes located at Century Square below the Star Cinema Grill in College Station. You got 3 things, OB?
Yeah, I got a lot of things I want to see, but the top 3 is first and foremost on all of our minds, we want to see the good version of Connor Wigman that we've seen so often in his career against Missouri, and then last year, even against Miami and some of the other teams, against LSU when he was a freshman. We want to see that version of Connor Wigman, the guy that doesn't turn the ball over and get out of whatever was going on last week against Mississippi State. So I want to see the best version of him. I want to see.
You mean the Connor Wigman that we have seen for most of his career?
Yeah, okay. Yeah. I want to see the Le'Veon Moss running at his highest level ever. He's a Louisiana kid, so I think not that he needs any extra motivation, but I'm sure it means something to him to be playing LSU. And I want to see Le'Veon Moss have a big game, which that all ties in with Reed Adams and all those guys. But Le'Veon will be the guy carrying the ball, and I just want to see the A&M defense be who they are.
Yep.
Because if I think if they're just who they are, I think they can keep LSU to between 20 and 24 points. And
if they keep in the 2024, I think A&M wins.
I think you have a great chance to win a football game.
So mine are going to sound a little similar to yours.
Okay.
All right. You started off with a Twitter vigors comment, and that's where I need, and it's kind of, I'm going to start off on the defensive side. I need to see that defensive line, as you just mentioned ago, win the trenches, right? Okay. Because that is what LSU does well. Is their offensive line is legit. Now, they do struggle a bit, not recently as much, but a bit at rush blocking. They've been really good in pass pro, really, really good at pass pro. Yeah. But I need to see the A&M defense do what they've done to most teams, which is limit the rushing and get after the quarterback. That's what we need to see, because I want to see what Nuss does when he's got attention coming after him. And then do those wide receivers who have been excellent for LSU, are they able to make the plays when he's under pressure? That's the question.
Yeah. Hopefully they won't have that opportunity.
All right. I'm going to do something similar to you. I want to see Connor Cook. All right.
Connor Cook.
Chef Wegman. That's what I want to see. And I'm going to give you some numbers. Okay. I think he throws for 250. I need him to throw for 250, no turnovers. That might mean 3 touchdown passes. That might mean 0 because Le'Veon gets it in there and Amari. I don't care how they do it, but I think if he throws for 250 and no interceptions, which is, I don't think it's that much to ask on this secondary that they're facing.
Well, I agree with that. There are plays to be made against that secondary as I've watched it.
Yeah.
I'll start with the no interceptions, and then I'll take the yardage from there. But yeah, that's my first priority with him.
Well, and I'm going to add one more for you.
All right. Yeah, we did ask for 3.
We're asking what I want to see, right? I want to see what I just said, those 2. And Le'Veon Moss 120.
Yeah, or more.
Or more. Yeah, or more.
Well, if Amari Daniels is in there contributing and
he's going to be 80.
Then we'll take that.
What did I see that I think only one team has rushed for 200 yards on LSU this year? That was South Carolina.
They're like 200 and maybe 300. I mean, it was a lot, 236. I think.
Okay, I think A&M can do that.
Yeah, well, Ole Miss had 180.
Yeah.
And I feel confident that A&M has a better offensive line than Ole Miss, and that Le'Veon Moss is a better running back than Ulysses Bentley. Now, Jackson Dart had a lot of those yards.
But Jackson Dart in that game did not throw for the typical yards he typically typical yards that he typically does.
Well, they had that's right, but they had 467 yards of total offense. And when they talk about, hey, this LSU defense has gotten so much better over the last 3 games, I'm like, well, have they really? Because Ole Miss had 467 yards, and one of the other games was South Alabama, and then Arkansas, had the best running back out.
Right, after his fifth touch.
Right. So, I'm sure they've gotten better, but how much?
Yeah, how much better? Here's another thing I found. I was reading a betting article, if you will. The Aggies have yet to allow a 300-yard passing in a game this season. Only once has a team completed more than 60% of their passes against the defense. A&M ranks 5th in the SEC in pass defense efficiency entering this matchup against LSU. A&M is also 4th in the SEC in total passes defended. 8 interceptions, 30 pass breakups.
Yeah, if they could just clean up that tendency to give up the big play, they'll win 10 plays in a row, and then the 11th one, you're like, well, where were they? So if they could clean up that tendency, they'd probably be leading that.
Just clean it up. I mean,
the communication breakdowns, like the 65-yard pass on the first play of the second half against Bowling Green, or when you should have had Taylor Green sacked, and he got loose for a 75-yard touchdown pass, right? So just if you can clean up those kind of things.
And you're past mid-season, so it's time to have them clean.
It is. And maybe, some guys who are, there may be guys who are more susceptible to giving up the big plays. Well, if it's in a 3rd and long situation, make sure that particular guy's not out there in coverage.
All right, let's get into your players that you want to watch. I've got a few names to throw at you if you want to throw them back at me. But we already talked about 2 of them, so I'm going to give you a different name that you have on your list, OB. Jabri Barber.
Well, Jabri was really good last week. We've expected him to be good. What, do you have 6 catches, 92 yards?
That sounds correct.
And one that could have been a long touchdown that just barely went off his fingertips. So they were that close to having just a monumental game. So yeah, it looks like he's breaking out. So absolutely, to see Jabri keep that up.
And probably the highest draft pick on A&M this upcoming season, the best defensive player on the team, a guy that fits in with the culture, gets it, does it. Nick Scorton. Yeah,
Nick Scorton. Look, he's 4.5 sacks, but I don't think that really tells everything because he's affected. We've talked about this. He's affected the quarterbacks by they're trying to get the ball out fast.
Right.
Gets pressure and forces incompletion. So he's doing that. And what a tremendous matchup that'll be between he and Will Campbell. And if he was to be the winner in that matchup more often than not, then that'll obviously be a big step toward winning the game.
Let's do one more Aggie on this one before we look at LSU. The cornerback, better known as the Blanket.
The Blanket, Will Lee.
He will.
Will he?
He will.
He will. Okay. He has. I'll say that.
And he will again.
What has he got? 9 passes broken up with an interception in there. He's really been the solution at one corner. The problem is there's another corner and there's a nickel back, and I think the safety play's been pretty solid.
Yep.
For the most part. But at least you feel really good about Will Lee over there, and hopefully he can contain those guys, Kyron Lacey. What I'm really worried about is who's going to cover that tight end. Mace Taylor, he's a good one.
He is a very good one.
So who's going to cover him? Going to put a nickel back on him, put a big safety? I don't know.
Oh.
Marcus Ratcliffe.
Maybe it's Marcus Ratcliffe, yeah. Let's go into the LSU side of things. We mentioned Nuss. He's been really good, but he can be forced into some mistakes.
He can, just like any quarterback. But, yeah, I mean, he's really good. Today, if I had to do my all-SEC vote, I would have him as my second team all-SEC quarterback behind Diego Pavia from Vanderbilt. But, I mean, and he's really coming on. I mean, the last few weeks he's really played at a high level. He gets rid of the ball fast, but, yeah, he can get rattled. And there's been some games where he's thrown for less than 50% completion rate. So,
fits right in with A&M.
Looks like we got a couple of LSU guys coming in.
Oh, do we know him?
Yeah, I'm related to one of them.
Good old Quinn Buchanan in the house. All right. By the way, typically right now we are in the holistic planning cool zone.
Cool zone, the traveling cool zone.
Yeah. Investinprosports.com is the website you need to go to. If you just an average Joe wants to invest in pro sports, Quinn Buchanan, who's probably going to be a big wig anyway, he can invest in pro sports now.
Hopefully someday he'll be an owner and you can invest in his team.
Yeah, no doubt. Caden Durham. Let's talk about him.
Yeah, he's really good.
He's coming on recently.
Yeah, well, he's a freshman, and I guess sometimes it takes you a while to figure out what you got with a freshman, right? Herschel Walker didn't play until, I think, a couple of games into the season. And Caden Durham, he's going to be the fastest guy on the field. His mom was a sprinter at Oklahoma. He went to Duncanville. They won a couple of state championships there. They'd lost John Emery for the season or before the season started. He was probably going to be their starting running back, and they mix and match, different guys. And Caden Durham has emerged. He has separated himself from the other running backs the same way he often separates himself from tacklers with big gains.
So I think people probably get sick of A&M always having good defensive linemen, right? Like, oh man, again, another running back too. Mm-hmm. I'm getting sick of wide receivers at LSU because
they always have them.
I mean, I knew Kyron Lacey was good, but again, it's like Malik Neighbors leaves, Kyron Lacey steps in. It's a revolving door of wide receivers there.
Yeah, it is. They do a good job of developing them. Maybe Tommy Moffitt's going to help us with that. Look, Kyron Lacey's really good. I don't think he's as good as the guys they had last year.
No.
But he's really good. He's had 36 catches this year, about 500 yards plus, I think 6 touchdowns. So obviously he's a really productive guy. And, he's their number one. The problem is number 2, number 3, and number 4 pretty good too.
Yeah.
So there's not a big, but it's hard to focus just on him.
Talking to a few insiders, there's a couple players on there that they really, really like. Obviously, they're putting up, but they're more like number 2, number 3 receivers. Mm-hmm. A lot of number 2, number 3s, and that can be a problem. By the way, A&M is kind of built that way too. Not the success that Kyron Lacey has had, but I mean, you look at it, A&M's got a bunch of guys you can throw to.
They do, but A&M has a bunch of guys right now that are still trying to figure out who the number one is. Maybe they don't. Maybe they have a bunch of 2s.
Right.
But whatever it is, it has been a guy every week of late, right? So last week it was Jabri Barber. I think the week before that it was kind of a lot of guys, but Terry Bussey had 3 catches for like 72 yards. And the week before that, it was Noah Thomas with a big game against Arkansas. So, I think that A&M receiving core in the last 3 or 4 games has really stepped up their productivity. But I still don't know who's the one guy that you're throwing to when you got to have it.
Yeah, no doubt. Whit Weeks, let's do one more. He's a guy that has really emerged ever since Harold Perkins was out of the lineup, and they really like his ability just to find the ball.
Yeah, look, he's good. He didn't start the first 2 games. Last year, he played a lot as a freshman. I think he started 3 games last year and had around 40, 45 tackles. So you expect him to be better as a sophomore, but I don't know if you expected him to take the quantum leap that he's taken. I think he's been in double figures tackle totals in 4 of the last 5 games.
Right.
Leads the SEC with 69 total tackles, and he didn't start the first 2 games. He's really good. And he's the reason they're pointing to say this is why they're better in run defense. Again, it might be because also a contributing factor who they play, but he's really emerged as a really good linebacker. And he's on his way to be all SEC. I know people in Baton Rouge are saying he's the best inside linebacker in America. And maybe he is, but they're probably biased.
All right. Any guest and caller that joins the show will join us on the Boss Firearms Hotline. If you have a text message for the program, you can do that at 979-693-1150. We'll pick it up on the Little Sluggers text line. And let's do this, OB.
Okay.
I like making money. You like making money. I have not a lot of money to make, right? I have a lot of money I'd like to make. I'm not. Dude. I can't go the direction I wanted to go to. I realized I'm at the Angry Elephant. I probably could go the direction I wanted to go to, but I'm not going to right now. Let's just say if I want to make some money and only invest, I don't know, no dollars. I mean, if I want to play some games and I want to say, all right, I want free 50.
Yeah. A free $50. Who would take
if I invest $5?
If I told anybody in here, hey, I got $50 who wants it, they'd all raise their hands.
And then I go, hey, you can enjoy daily fantasy sports without costing you anything. You can have the fun, like the stakes are there, and you get $50 free
$50 to play with.
Once you play $5 lineup?
Yeah, heck yeah.
But you don't know what's the website I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
What is it?
It's Prize Picks.
Oh, yeah. You did know that.
Heck yeah, because you make some picks, you win a prize.
Yeah, prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Okay, let's see if you really pay attention. What's the passcode?
No, I don't know that.
Let's think about it. Prizepicks.com/TexAgs with a passcode of
David Nuño. I don't.
I mean, it'll cost you money if you do that. It's TexAgs. That's all you got to do.
TexAgs. That's all. Just know TexAgs. Well,
Yeah.
you heard it.
I actually did my lineup this morning.
Yeah.
I'm feeling really good. I forget what the stat line was for Connor. Maybe I can look for it. Should I look for it?
Because I'd want to know. Should we? You want to take over or under on Connor?
I think I took more than. I'm going to tell you exactly what I did. Ready?
Okay,
Here we go. Okay, Ashton Genty. This is the first one I did.
Right, running back from Boise State.
The number they put 192.5.
Ooh.
I did less than.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Because I mean, he does average like 10 yards a carry, 9.9. I think.
And
right?
UNLV is 20th in the country against the run.
CJ Daniels, the wide receiver for LSU.
LSU, probably the number 4 guy.
His receiving yards, 55.5. I took less than.
Okay. Yeah.
You agree with that?
Yeah.
I hope he doesn't have more than 55.
Right.
Right. Are you familiar with a guy named Connor Wigman?
I know him.
Okay, he's a good guy.
Yeah. Where's 15?
His stat line is 206.5. I took more than. I'm you know why?
Because you want it.
Well, yeah, that's part of the reason. This is the longest spot ever, by the way.
And there's a lot of openings in that.
I think so. Okay.
LSU secondary.
Cam Ward, 316 versus FSU. I said more than, baby. He's throwing for 331.
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
FSU's awful.
Now, this one you're going to get upset with me.
Okay.
I asked for 120 yards from Le'Veon Moss.
Yeah.
Okay. The number they put was 87.5. I did less than just because I do think it'll probably be a little bit more Le'Veon and Amari Daniels.
Yeah.
But I'll gladly be wrong on that one.
Yeah, I would have taken over on that.
Yeah.
What do I know?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot. PricePicks.com/TexAgs, the longest spot ever. Use the code TexAgs. We'll be back.
What's up, TexAgs? This commercial break is brought to you by my good friends over at Aggieland Chevrolet, the official automotive sponsor of TexAgs.com and me, Billy Liucci. Greg Gunn is the proud owner of Aggieland Chevrolet and invites you to visit the dealership to experience true Aggie hospitality. From their friendly staff to the experienced service team, Aggieland Chevrolet is TexAgs approved. Check out the dealership off of Highway 6 in Bryan or go to AggielandChevrolet.com and tell them Billy Liucci sent you by.
I think we're back. It doesn't matter. I got an audience here. They can hear the show. Welcome back to TexAgs Live. We are presented by
David Gardner's Jewelers.
That's correct. I was just checking.
Yeah.
Currently the Rollo Insurance Studio inside of the Angry Elephant in South College Station. We're going to be hanging out here for a while. It is the Go Hour. You do that.
It is, yeah.
Presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. Before we do our pick six, OB, brought to you by Prize Picks, I do want to read this text. Shane in South Carolina. I don't know if you, South Carolina, Shane, I don't know if you remember. He lives in the Carolinas, obviously. He was involved in the terrible hurricane that hit the area, and he's been updating us. He goes, just a quick update. We're doing great up here in the Carolinas. Life is, for the most part, is back to normal. Can't say thank you enough to the TexAgs family for the love you guys showed. Gig 'em, and let's beat the hell out of LSU tomorrow.
Well, gig them to all those things.
Gig 'em. KK Nagley's with us.
Hello. How are we doing?
Can I tell the people the little bit of trivia I learned yesterday about you?
Sure. Yeah.
I had no clue your name was Kaylin.
It is indeed Kaylin.
Did you know that?
I did, actually.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
We've had that
No, we
discussion.
didn't know it either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And right before college, I just decided to chop it because Nagley is already hard enough. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to go by K.
If you were in the mafia, what would be your name?
Yeah, I don't know about that one.
Kaylin Naglione.
Maybe. Yeah.
You don't
Something
get it.
like that.
You don't know about the Corleone family, do you?
No,
that's another thing she doesn't know.
It's okay.
I guarantee you, Steve is like, you haven't watched The Godfather?
I feel, man, there's just so many things I need to get through in life. I'm really not fulfilling anything.
Let's do our little Prize Picks Pick Six, brought to you by Prize Picks. It's not little, it's huge. I'm in last place. OB second to last. This is fun.
Wait, am I still? Because I thought I had a good week last week.
You had a great, I think you won 4-2. Maybe you're not in last place. Let me double check.
You went 4-2 last week, okay?
Yeah, so I've had a pretty
David
good
won
week.
3-3.
Yeah, you're still in second to last place,
Really?
buddy.
Y'all are, and David's last.
Hey, but I just want to make sure everybody realizes I did win the whole thing last year. I'm not always bad.
The underdog?
Yeah, because you're kind of like
Come
Michigan.
back.
I'm kind of like Michigan. Yeah. I sold my soul to the NFL, and now it's a.
Oh man.
I wish I had somebody helping me spy on other people's picks.
I would sacrifice a tough year for a national championship.
Heck yeah, I would.
Yes, I would.
All right, let's get into it. Actually, but you and I disagreed, right? When we had the, I think it was a few weeks ago, somebody asked if I would take a national championship. What was it, Kay? You may remember, and then 9 straight years of like 5-7, or would I take like 10-2 the whole time, but no national championship? I took 10-2.
Yeah, I think I'd take a national championship.
Man, doing this talk show and being 5-7 for 9 years, bro. The last 2 years, I just rode you.
You have other sports to talk about.
But it sucked, man. People are mean. That was my fault.
Yeah.
It's Olin's fault. Billy's fault. No.
But
All right, let's get into the pick six.
let's do it. So we got number 12 Notre Dame versus number 24 Navy. That is an 11 a.m. kick at MetLife Stadium. That is on ABC. Notre Dame is favored by 12.5.
Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's not enough. I mean, I really want Navy to win,
I did too.
but yeah, they just have better athletes at Notre Dame. And if it was 17.5, I think I would take Navy, but 12.5, I don't think it's enough for me.
Yep, I'm going to go with Notre Dame as well. Let's go to the second one.
All right, we got number 21 Missouri at number 15 Alabama. Man, that feels weird to see a number 15 next to Bama. That is at 2:30 p.m. at Bryant-Denny Stadium on ABC. Bama is favored by 13.5.
I believe the last I haven't looked today. Brady Cook's out, right?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
So now, yeah, Bama.
Yeah, I'll
easy.
take Alabama.
I mean, Missouri sucks.
I don't think Missouri sucks. I think they're pretty good with Brady Cook. Now, they sucked with Drew Pine
The
last
current
week.
incarnation of Missouri sucks.
I have no faith in Drew Pine. They would have lost to Auburn last week had Brady Cook not come out of the hospital.
Yeah.
And rescued them.
He rubbed some dirt on it.
So I'll take Alabama too.
All right, third game.
All right, we got number 20 Illinois at number 1 Oregon. And that is a 2:30 kick at Autzen Stadium on ABC. Oregon favored by 21.5.
21.5?
Oh, buddy.
That's a big number.
I'd like. Which Oregon team shows up? Is it the Oregon team that showed up against Ohio State? Which, by the way, I mean, they look really good at home. They're going to be at home. That's a big number, OB.
Yeah, especially for against a ranked opponent. It's actually pretty good. I think I'll take Illinois.
Yeah,
21.5 points.
I think Oregon wins, but yeah, I'm going to take Illinois.
All right, we got number 5 Texas at number 25 Vanderbilt. 3:15 kick at First Bank Stadium on SEC Network. Longhorns favored by 18.5.
Anchor down, baby. Anchor down. 18.5.
That's a big number. Great team.
And I'm thinking, what has Texas actually done this year?
Nothing.
I mean,
They beat Michigan.
right. It's like I said, what have they done this year?
All right.
Vanderbilt may be the second best team they faced all year. 18.5. Texas wins. Texas wins. But you're gonna give me 18.5 points. I'm gonna have to anchor down.
I think I've told you this before, and excuse me if I'm repeating myself. If Texas is either going to blow them out or it's going to be a tight game. And I'm hoping and banking on a tight game. I'm taking Vandy.
You're taking Vandy.
Yeah, so we're going to just stay in last place. There's just a minute.
Is Vandy winning or?
No, they're not.
No, okay. You're just taking the point.
I really want them to win.
Okay.
It doesn't. I mean,
I'm putting all my hope in Diego Pavia and Eli Stowers.
There you go.
yeah.
All right, we got third-ranked Penn State at Wisconsin. That is a 6:30 kick at Camp Randall Stadium on NBC. Penn State favored by 6.5.
Yeah, I haven't been impressed with Wisconsin either. So I'll take Penn State in the points. Yeah. You and I are.
They're going to win. Yeah, that's why we're in last place.
Yeah,
I'm putting you in last, even though you're not technically in last.
The bottom tier.
Yeah.
All right, last but not least, number 8, LSU is heading to Kyle Field. 14th ranked Texas A&M will be wearing their blackout jerseys. We've got a blackout. They will be wearing all white. That is a 3:15 kick at Kyle Field on ABC. Texas A&M is favored by 2.5.
Gig them all the freaking way. I'm taking the Aggies.
Yeah.
I've gone back and forth in my head, but I'm putting my money where my heart is. And you're going to tell me it's a night game at Kyle Field.
Yeah.
They're wearing all black.
Jerseys.
Right? Connor coming back after a mediocre game against the secondary that I think is suspect. I think the Aggies win by 3 or more. I don't think it's like a Missouri feeling to the game. I think LSU is legit good. And but I think all the reasons why what makes this place special means they win this game.
Yeah, I think some Twitter fingers gone, get their hands broke.
Did you have to Google it?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah,
so I will take A&M and give 2.5 points. So I just got to win by a field goal.
Yep.
At Kyle Field. Yeah, I'm gonna break those Twitter fingers and break some Twitter fingers and some hearts.
Do I see Andrew Monaco in the back, the voice of the Aggies? We're going to have him on in the next segment. One thing we should do, right?
What's that?
We should invite Andrew Monaco to eat, not only at the Angry Elephant.
Because he's such a great guy.
Right? We'll get him some food here.
Yeah.
Right?
Great breakfast. Everybody's having a nice breakfast.
Right. And then 2 hours later, they're like, yo, and we have to say yo, voice, right? You call him.
We should call him voice.
Voice or the voice, Kay? What do you think?
I got to say voice.
Voice.
The voice.
Yeah. Yo, voice. Let's go to 1775 and get some BBQ.
Yeah, voice in your voice. Heading down to 1775. Get the pork ribs. That's what I would get.
Yeah.
Get that brisket. Get that sausage, and of course the queso mac and cheese. And last time I went, my wife had a big potato stuffed with brisket, chopped brisket.
Qué rico está eso, ¿no?
Sí,
te gusta eso. Yeah, 1775. They're open Thursday through Saturday.
Yeah, I know that.
11 a.m. until they're sold out, which is usually 11:02. It's fast. I mean, because there's lines. But go check it out.
It's worth the trip.
Online ordering turns off at 10 a.m. 8203 Raymond Stosser Parkway in College Station, 979-492-6241. It is 1775txbbq.com.
Everyone, David Nuño here in a moment right now for Snaps Clothing. They are the makers of the only official licensed Texas A&M Pearl Snap shirts. I'm wearing it right now. This is part of their Tailgater collection. It's built for game day. My friend Edgar over there is doing great work. You've got to check out the clothing. It's the Pearl Snaps. It's the cool look. It's kind of hip, but also Western. You'll love it, and they have great stuff there. They'll keep you comfortable as you're repping your Aggie gear, and it's the place to go to get it. Whether you're watching the game from home or tailgating before watching the stands, these shirts have you covered. Head to snapsclothing.com. That is snapsclothing.com to gear up for the season.
All right, we're back here on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Yeah, Nick Savage clapping it up. It is. We're at the Angry Elephant.
Give that away, David.
Sorry, no, you started the clap. It's like when one guy starts going and everybody joins you. Good job, Nick. We're at the Angry Elephant in South College Station. Yes, sir.
No, nothing. I don't want to say something that's going to get myself in trouble.
So it's the Go Hour presented by the Warehouse at CC Creations. OB, typically when we're doing the show, I might go a little lingo-ish at times, the Twitter fingers things. Right. When the voice is here, I feel like I got to sit upright. I got to be like, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to TexAgs. I've got Andrew Monaco, the voice. What's up, buddy?
I thought you knew me. You don't have to do that at all.
I know, but it's like you're like a role model, so I feel like I must. Andrew, I must speak eloquently like you do.
And then I'm going to say to you, what happened to David? Where did he go?
How are you, my friend?
I am great. How excited are you for tomorrow?
This is why we sign up for this, right? Like, this is
correct.
Not only why you go in the SEC, why we work at Texas A&M or with A&M. Like, this is what it's all about, and we're going to get an opportunity tomorrow to see it.
It's fun because when the season came out, we thought, wow, Notre Dame's going to be really great. That's going to be a great game, right? Oh, look, Missouri's ranked. Oh, that's going to be a fun one. Obviously, we know November 30th, right? And LSU was right in there as well, but you didn't know the stakes were going to be like this.
Yeah.
Man, it's to me very exciting. And I've said this time and time again throughout this season. Kyle Field's going to be electric on Saturday. And I think there's going to be a little more electricity because of those.
Yeah.
They've done a wonderful job doing, I think, the run-up, the anticipation.
The presentation yesterday was fantastic.
How cool is that, right? And then to see all the former players, like what Leon Nuño Jr. go, man, I didn't get to wear those. And then I think, was it Damani asking Johnny Manziel?
Yes. Yeah.
It was like, and I can't say what Connor Choate tweeted, but it was funny.
Was it good?
Okay, I will. Yeah, he saw the reveal. He goes, I have to change my pants.
Oh my gosh. That's good stuff. Olin's got a thought.
No, I really don't with that. It sounds like some Twitter fingers just gone break over the
Twitter fingers this week have been something, huh? They've really been something.
But it is such a big game, the biggest matchup ever in the history of the series with LSU. This is the biggest game with the biggest stakes ever involved in this game. And quite frankly, you could make a strong argument that this is when you consider the records and what time of year and the way the playoff and things have changed and things like that, maybe the biggest game that A&M has played. I know there's still be more work.
No, I know what you're saying.
But maybe the biggest game that A&M has played as an SEC team.
Yeah. And I love what Mike Elko has said, OB, about it. He goes, you don't just want to play in these games. You want to win these games, right? You want to we want to keep having games like this. And then we say, wow, this is even bigger than the LSU game. This is even bigger than something else. That's what you want. You want to put yourself in this position. And I thought it was interesting going back to Monday that Mike said, wow, LSU is a great team and A&M has an opportunity. Not like he was comparing.
Right.
But he's done what he's done that consistency of message every single week, right? We have an opportunity. That's all you can do. Give yourself an opportunity to have a chance here. That's what they've done.
Andrew, do you find yourself like we do on this show where like no team really impresses me, but then they're good, right? Like I looked at LSU a few weeks back. I don't think they're that good, but here they are 6-1. South Carolina can beat anybody. Like there's a lot of teams in the SEC that can beat you. And it's those who find a way at the end of games. And that's something LSU has done a good job of, even though they haven't impressed me. At the end of games, they've been good outside of USC.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. And there's the similarity, right? They didn't get it done at the end against USC. Aggies are tied with Notre Dame at 13 going into the fourth quarter. Notre Dame wins that game. But again, everyone thinks it's coach speak. We have the season ahead of us. I think both these teams prove that. Yep. And I think you're talking as well to the depth of the SEC, right? That's what it's going to take. And it reinforces what Mike was saying on Monday during the Aggie football hour, as he told his team, every SEC game is a fourth quarter game. Missouri was the outlier. Every game's a fourth quarter game, no matter who you're playing, and it matters where you're playing. And we saw that at Starkville last week. But yeah, that's that margin of error. So I think what Mike has done so well in this coaching staff is say, in a game that's going to have 150 snaps, which one's going to decide it? Don't say this one's not going to decide it. You don't know, right? This turnover might determine it, that sack. And I think when he talks strain and effort, it means something different to everybody else. Le'Veon's strain, Armajé Reed-Adams' strain, Nick Scorton's strain, Will Lee's strain. They're different physically, but it all adds up to, is this going to be the play? Is this deflection instead of a completion going to be the play? And I like that message. And I think we're seeing that part of the improvement is the focus of this team over the course of 60 minutes.
Yeah, they've definitely had so much chemistry on this team as opposed to previous teams. And they do seem to have a little more attention to detail, maybe a lot more attention to detail. But I think one of the things you were just talking about and how it could be one play, and that shows how close the matchup it is. But, that's what I see for the whole SEC.
Agreed.
I don't think there's a great team in the SEC this year. I think there's a lot of good ones. And that's why you can see Alabama lose to Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
You can see Arkansas beat Tennessee. So it's so wide open. But you know what? I think you can say that nationally. It's wide open. So you look at this game and you think how important it is, because not only do you beat a rival, the Wicked Witch of the East, the West comes in a couple of weeks, but not only can you beat a rival and you can continue this winning streak and take the inside track to Atlanta and the playoff. But if you can get there, anything's possible this year.
Yeah, you can play anybody. You can end up playing anybody the way this is now. We've been so conditioned to East and West, right? Because you had the divisions and your thought was, wow, if you could get out of the West, wouldn't that be something? Right. If you could win the West, win Atlanta, you're in, the CFP at the time, that 4-team playoff. But this is different schedules. Who thought that we'd say, gosh, I wish we had Alabama on the schedule, right? Or something like that. But,
and I don't want Vandy.
And that's something where normally like, yeah, that's exactly who I want. But Missouri used to be that way, right? Yeah. And I'm not going to, when Gary Pinkel was there and they were winning the East. To me, it's fascinating. And then the matchups of could you play again? Or maybe we are going to see, or someone is going to see a team that's not on their schedule in Atlanta and now throw in with a 12-team playoff. It could be another SEC matchup somewhere in the 12-team playoff.
Andrew, I was on a show in Baton Rouge yesterday, and they were asking me what is different. And there's so many different things about this current regime. But one of the things that I found was Mike Elko did not build this team like he was doing dynasty mode on Madden, right? He didn't just get the 5-star. Yes, he got some of those.
Yes,
right?
He did.
But he got, it feels, and look, it's easy to say that when you're 6-1, but he got guys that fit the culture, guys that wanted to be here, guys that were going to work a certain way. And that 22 class, recruiting class, which was phenomenal talent, some of those pieces did not fit because they had other things in mind. These guys seem to be all about what Elko's building.
And Mike was saying that this week. We get the chance to talk to him after practice on Thursdays, and we were asking about how there's talent acquisition, I think now. You're using words that you usually use in the pros, right? There's talent acquisition, there's talent retention now because you have to recruit your own guys. But how do you do that? How do you bring in the player? Like, everyone's thought is there's a 5-star in the portal. We got to go get him, right? Mike says the first question he asks is why? Why are you in the portal? And why do you want to leave? Or why do you want to come here? If you're here for just the money, and you're here for just a guarantee that you're going to start, guess what? He's not on our radar at all. So now that eliminates a whole bunch of people, right? So these are the people that you want. And it can't be a speed dating thing. You've got to get to know that. Now, that's not always easy, but you got to get to know that person that you are bringing in. And I think that applies the same thing to the freshmen coming in and having that relationship of some sort in high school to say, hey, what are you coming to Texas A&M for? I think that's it. I think earlier when they lost, Mike said there will be no finger pointing. Look in the mirror. That's one thing. That accountability. I think that consistency of message from the first 8 months leading up to the Notre Dame kickoff. And now as a player, you're saying, you know what? He's being consistent even through 8 weeks of football. You know what I mean? Even during that. So, and I think sometimes it's a slower realization of what's going on. But yeah, I agree with you. The culture is different, and he's very quick to give all the credit to the players themselves.
I do this all the time. Can you stick around for another one?
Absolutely, David. I'd be pleased.
Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate that. We'll come back with more with the voice here. By the way, I was looking for some hunting gear because I'm a big hunter now. You know that, right?
I do know that.
Yeah, a big time hunter. I haven't gone yet, but I have a feeling once I go, I'm going to be going to the meetings and it's going to be great. Yeah. I went looking for some hunting gear. And I was like, you know what? Why? Because I got duck camp. They sent me a lot of great stuff. I got some wonderful things from duck camp. And if you are a hunter or if you're into fishing or if you just like to look good, I do. Andrew does. OB sometimes does. You want to check out Duck Camp. You do. When you wear Duck Camp, you look great.
I want my son to look good. That's why I gave it all to him, remember?
He stole all the comfortable gear. Yeah. That's true.
Duck Camp gear. He said it looks better on him than me.
Well, he's not lying. Yeah. When you do look good, Duck Camp gear ranges from the new sun protection line of shirts to the technical hunting, fishing apparel, and of course the Mallard Game Series hats. Check out the website, duckcamp.com. Duck Camp is gear made for people that live for the moments out there, where there are fish to catch, birds to hunt, a time to kill, football to watch. It is Bird Camp. Bird Camp, bird dog. Welcome back to the Angry Elephant in South College Station, TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studios. Typically, we do around Aggie Land here. That's presented by Norman G. State Bank. Norman G. State Bank, rock solid banking. The website is normangstatebank.com. But right now, we're doing Bank on It, and poor Andrew Monaco is going to have to bank on something. He doesn't have to, but I'm going to see if he will. Authentic relationship-based banking built for real life. Go see Joel Jackson and the team. Learn more at VeraBank.com. I'm going to show you how the game is played. Okay. Olin's going to show you.
Gotcha.
Olin, what are you banking on this weekend?
I'm banking on a $120 out of Le'Veon Moss. I think you can run on the LSU defense. I think you got obviously a highly motivated offensive line led by Marjorie that wants to break known fingers or whatever. And I think Le'Veon Moss, again, last week, if not for a couple of suspect holding calls.
Right.
He has 150 yards last week. He just continues to produce. So why wouldn't he produce this week? At least 120, I think.
Andrew, I'll make it easy for you because I don't know if you're allowed to bank on anything. You'll probably bank on an amazing crowd and an amazing atmosphere.
The bank on whatever the record is, we're going to run it, right? 110. But that was at the oldest. That was before everything was done.
Right. More straight like crowd.
Yeah, it's when the freshmen aren't getting their tickets, and they're going to have to stand. Yeah, we might be setting some kind of record. But I will bank on the defensive line having an effect on this game. I think the Aggie defensive line, bank on them. We're seeing them get better and better and even more dominant throughout the week.
They need to win this game, don't they? Because Nuss does not get sacked a lot. They need to be able to affect him some way, shape, or form. That doesn't necessarily mean sacks.
That's the word. Affect. He's only been sacked twice. He's been hurried 27 times. Can you affect him and get him out of rhythm? Have him like Brady Cook running. Have him like Tylen Green running out of the pocket. If you can affect that pocket, gives him a great chance.
I'm going to bank on Noah Thomas. More than 77 yards and a score. Okay, I think we can see that. Ob, do you see him over the top?
I think somebody's going to be that. But again, with this A&M receiving course, somebody every week. So maybe it's Noah's turn again.
Yeah, and by the way, I think Terry Bussey should be back. So
he's going to be back.
He could have himself a game.
The answer to that is yes.
Yes. The answer is yes, yes, and yes. Right?
He is. He will be back. But wasn't it good to see Jabri Barber, who had return punts at Troy and kicks, and then Dalton Brooks showing how versatile that young man is.
By the way, he is so good.
Yeah, he is.
There's I don't know if Jalen Jones vibe.
Keep your head up.
That's the whole thing.
Keep your head up.
Yeah. Well, and look, two things about tomorrow before we go. If they win, it doesn't ensure anything. If they lose, it doesn't mean anything. But if you do win, it puts you in position to make South Carolina the next biggest game. And that's going to be a hard one, but take care of LSU.
Right, that's the whole thing. And I think that was the message going into buy of the 6 inches in front of your face. Keep the focus what it should be.
Yeah. We have about 2 minutes left here. By the way, can I just say this out loud? Because you're one of the nicest people I know.
20 seconds, David.
Oh, 20 seconds. Michael Earley.
Big difference.
Is one of the nicest. And he's already here at the Angry Elephant.
Is he already here?
Early.
Yeah. You
baseball season, baby. It's baseball season.
It's always baseball season.
I'm spoiled to work with all the coaches. Mike, and Buzz.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure, my friend.
We'll be back. Billy and Bronny and Michael Earley next. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers. Thank you, Nick Savage. You're going to have to clap again in a second. We're here at the Angry Elephant in South College Station. Hopefully you can come hang out with us. We'll be here till 11. And Billy Liucci's arrived. We got Ryan Brauninger with us and Coach Michael Earley. Everybody. Coach Earley, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Yep. We're super excited about it. I'm going to let Bronny and Billy take over, but as a reminder, we are here presented by David Gardner's Jewelers in our Rollo Insurance studio. Come hang out at the Angry Elephant in South College Station. And of course, if you want to text the show, you can text it on the Little Sluggers text line, 979-693-1150. Bronny?
Yeah, Coach, obviously, thanks for coming in. And we were talking about it yesterday, actually earlier this week on radio, how you have, not you, but all the sports on campus are kind of piggybacking off of this football weekend. And you've got a lot of recruits in, so I know you've taken some time away from that. But how cool has it been to kind of work your recruiting weekends into what Mike Elko has done this year?
Oh, it helps a ton. I mean, I think the cool thing about our fan base is no matter how the football team's doing, they're going to show out at the games. Well, when they're doing well, it just seems to go to another level. So we're all in. I got the black script Aggies. Like we're all ready to go. So we're super excited.
Yeah, where'd you get that?
I don't know.
Do you want to add? Do you want to let everyone hear and all the listeners know so they can mob it?
It was hanging in my locker one day, so I'll try to figure that out.
Perfect. I'm a 2X. If you ever see another one.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you. You mentioned let's just dive right into this. You mentioned recruiting. Y'all, first of all, what's been the reception coming off the season you had and going into year one of the Mike Earley era? What's been the off-season reception on the trail?
It's been great. I mean, I think that how we did in the portal kind of speaks for itself.
Yeah.
And then what we were able to do late in the 2025 class and really flipping that class the other way, because there's a time where it was going a different direction, and we were able to add 4 of the top 10 players in Texas and just got one of the best hitters in the country out of Arizona. So it's gone really well. The reception's been great, and just using our connections all over the place. And, you know, you got people on the staff from all different walks of the country and kind of pulling that all together into one and trying to bring kids to Texas and get the best players in Texas.
And wanted to give a chance to talk a little bit about the NIL idea. Just thought it was brilliant, and you guys have been promoting it. For those listening that need a little refresher, a little education on it, the $1,200, $100 a month and trying to get 1,200 of them, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's just we're trying to open up a way. I mean, you know, NIL is here and it ain't going anywhere. So we're just trying to open up to a broader base and a large fan base. And for people who can contribute, that's great. If you can help spread the word, because in college baseball and sports in general, your NIL is going to be a big part of your success. So we're just trying to open up to a larger base. And we were about 2 or 3 weeks in, and it has really, really taken off. Got the hats coming.
Yeah,
nice. So it's going good. Caleb Longley's worked really hard on that, and we're just, you know, I appreciate everyone who's contributed so far.
The ever-changing kind of landscape right now of college baseball in terms of what you can have on your roster and what it's going to look like in recruiting. How difficult has that been to manage? This is your first year as a head coach, and then you're hit with all this stuff. Has it been easy to roll with those punches, or have you had to make some difficult decisions?
It's been really difficult, because up until about a week ago, and we still don't know what the roster is going to be next year until we know. So there's not a coach in the country that can tell you whether our roster next year is going to be 40 or 34. And that's really hard to deal with. And it's not, people are like, oh, it's 6 spots. It's not 6 spots, because in the fall this year we have 47. So that's 13. It's going to be a hard cap at 34. So that's 12, 13 players minimum you don't get to bring in. And you've already recruited guys in previous classes based on the 40 man with no cap. So we're operating like it is a 34. It's always easier to add guys. It's always tough. We've had to make a tough couple phone calls to kids saying like, hey, you know, this probably isn't the place for you just because of the roster size, to no one's fault. And you're seeing that, you know, across the country. What we don't want to do is over recruit where you got to make those calls every single year, which, you know, there's schools in our conference doing.
Yeah, I've noticed that. That seems to be I guess they're just going to worry about that later. Is there?
Yeah. Look, I'm not going to sit here and say it might not happen to us, and those conversations at some point it will happen. Will happen. But as much as we can avoid it, we want to avoid it. But will it happen here? Absolutely. Is it going to happen at the rate I think it'll happen in other places? No, it's not going to.
Anything different that, you know, I know I've talked to Coach Elko about this. You know, he was an assistant here and kind of watched and not
in any kind of negative way, but just said, man, if I ever get the shot to do this, whether it's here or wherever, this is how I'm going to do it. Is there anything different you're doing this fall during this fall ball than what you're used to seeing?
Here and there, not too much different. Not too much different. I think the music's played a little louder at practice, and just I don't know how I want to word this. I just try to let guys be themselves, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like you got a job to do. I expect you to do it. Do everything with respect, and I'm going to respect you and let them be themselves within what we do as a team culture. So there's I don't want guys to have fear when they operate or play for me, and they know that as long as they do things the right way and they don't cross that line, because sometimes when you give young guys freedom, it's natural for them to try to cross it, and that's happened here and there. But as soon as the first guy does it and you kind of send a message, it kind of shows everyone, okay, as long as we do what we're supposed to do, we'll be allowed to have a ton of freedom within our program.
Yeah.
On the first exhibition scrimmage against Houston Christian, how much were you able to glean off of that in terms of how the new guys, the new players reacted to that crowd? Because I thought it was going to be good. And I think you even said it yesterday in your press conference. Like, I had an idea that there was going to be a lot of people show up, but not like that. That had to have been good for just, you can run these guys through as many practices and inter squads as you want, but until you put them out there with people in the stands under the lights, you really don't know. Were you pleased with how your club reacted with the fan base?
It was great. It was great. You can't make up that type of atmosphere or how it makes you feel when you step on the field and there's that many people out there. So it was great. I mean, I thought they handled it perfect. The guys were trying to help the new guys out before, like, hey, this is how it's going to be. And in my head, I'm like, it's not going to be that bad. Like, because we played a couple of years ago, we had one the night before we played Alabama in football, and there's, I'd say 2,500, 3,000 people, but we had almost 6,000 in that game. So guys like Matt Bergevin or Miles Patton, who played at Long Beach State and Fairfield, they didn't have that many people at their home games combined all season, I bet.
Yeah.
So especially probably at Fairfield, I mean, they have parents at their games. So I mean, for those guys, it was super cool. And what I told them was, I said, that's about 70% of it right there.
Going into tonight, are you planning on doing anything different? I know you met with the media again yesterday and kind of went through your plan, and I thought it was interesting. Perhaps the most interesting thing to me that you unveiled in that media gathering was that Jace still a little banged up, not banged up. Jace could play. You're holding Jace.
Yeah.
How many of those decisions are you making across the roster where, hey, if this was Arkansas coming in here, these guys are playing?
For sure. I mean, there's maybe one or two guys that actually couldn't play. Most of the guys that won't play could. As a coach, I'm super health and take care of your body. I truly believe your best abilities, your availability, and sports performance and nutrition are something that are really important to me. So in the fall, I joked with the team yesterday. I said, hey, we're not going to have as many people there again because Jace isn't playing, but we want to keep him healthy, and he could play 100% could play. I just don't honestly think he's prepared for at bats. Like his speed was up to 21 miles an hour the other day. Like, he is not hurt. He's just not ready to play. And quite frankly, he doesn't really need to play in this game.
With certain guys that have been out this fall, and we've talked on TexAgs and on the boards, and heck, at the gym, we sit there and talk about all the.
Do you miss coming to the gym with us?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Miss seeing you guys there. Yeah.
Why a head coach can't go?
He started getting noticed, and somebody posted on TexAgs that he wasn't getting enough depth on his squat.
No, they didn't.
I think it's Nuño's burner.
I miss it over there, but it was the last selfie I took at 5:30 a.m. and kind of got me, and I was like,
we saw Caleb in there. I think that's why you need to go late, like me. You avoid Brawny. You don't get harassed. He doesn't ask you about recruiting. It's perfect. I was saying though, this with we talk about all the newcomers all the time, and we know about the returnees that the Jaces, the Gavins, Pragers of the world, Hayden. If I wouldn't have said Hayden right there, that would have come up later, right?
Sure.
Definitely would have heard about that.
Guy gets his feelings hurt pretty quickly.
I think it's just for dramatic effect. I like the approach. But of the returnees, is there a guy or two that you could say that, like, man, they've really made tremendous strides since the end of last season through what you've seen so far this fall?
Did you say Kent?
No.
Caden Kent. Okay. Huge strides. And I he's just a year better, a year stronger. Confidence, always had it, but now it's like it's more, right? When you perform like you did in the postseason like that, or when you have a couple marquee hits or plays, that can really propel you. So he hasn't changed how he worked, and I used him as an example yesterday. I said, you guys in here who don't think you're close to playing, do you see how Caden works? And they're like, yeah. Well, if we played today, he'd be the starting shortstop. Did he play a lot last year? No. He worked the same as he does now then. So use that as an example. So he's gone to another level. Him and Caleb have really clicked. So I've been a hitting coach, and honestly, Caden and I were super close, but from a hitting standpoint, it's always been a little bit of push and pull.
Try to mesh it.
Yeah, try to mesh it. And it hasn't, him and Caleb are great. So I'm like, Caleb, you take him. Caden, I'll play you at shortstop. We're all good. So that's been a match made in heaven, those two, because Caleb is me and Caden, the issue at times is we're real similar.
Okay.
Caleb is like this, like his heart rate doesn't get above a certain beat. So if they'll be going at it, Caleb will just say, no, this is why. And so it's been great. Those two, they'll be up there at 8:00 at night sometimes. I think they're like best friends. So it's been a really good match.
Well, I think not to add to your to your answer, but Caden Sorrell, like his just arrow, it was kind of hard to imagine it keep going up after Omaha. But when you look at him physically and then what he's done so far this fall, I mean, in that opening exhibition, he hits a 3-0 backside homer. That's not normal. And I think people are just starting to get used to the stuff he does being normal, and it's not.
Yeah, he if you look at it, if you don't even go more advanced analytically, his barrel percentage and why a ton of pro teams are attracted to him or big time agencies is because how hard he hits the ball in the zone, how consistently he hits it, and at a certain launch angle, how he hits it fits some sort of metric that is elite. Like he is last year in college baseball as freshman, it was him and one other guy that were at that elite metric. So, I mean, there's nothing more pretty than a left-handed swing. And then he has this sweet left-handed stroke. Like if I could give my son one swing on the team, it would be Caden Sorrell's. Like it's just beautiful. And he's really super competitive. Like when he steps in the box, like he has bad intentions. Early on, that got him in trouble because he had bad intentions on every single pitch that was thrown, whether it's a ball or a striker in the dirt or 50 feet away. So once he's gotten better at controlling the strike zone, that swing does not miss a lot. It's just, he just has the knack to put the barrel on the ball. He's super athletic. He's probably put on 15 pounds since last year. Guy grinds every single day.
From the non-metric, like growing up in the 80s baseball, when this season, probably the second half of the season on, here's why I like Caden Sorrell. When I'd see the lineup coming up for a certain inning, I'd be like, we got to get to him. Like when he'd come up to the plate, you're just confident that he's gonna do something good. Like I don't care if he was hitting 270 or 310. You watch it and you go, okay, when this guy comes, it just looks right, and that level of confidence. And to hear you say that about Caden Kent, the way he was playing down the stretch, and then to just come back and build on that, some exciting stuff right now.
I had one of the guys in the audience wanted to know about the catching position and how you view it and how it's progressed under Troy Claunch with Bear Harrison and Jacob Galloway.
Yeah, right now I feel like we got two really good guys. I mean, between Bear and Jacob will start tonight. Bear started the last game. Bear will still hit. I think we got a good right-handed hitter with power. Then we got a lefty who can really control the bat. So, we don't have Jackson Appel, but we tried to bring in two guys to kind of spell that. So they've done really well. They're just two different styles of catching, but both like really, really good defensively. And as long as we're working with some stuff with Bear hitting and Jacob hitting, and Bear has some untapped power we're trying to get to, and Jacob's just going to be a guy that controls the strike zone. He can sneak out a homer every now and then, but a guy that can really hit the ball the other way. So it's it'll just depend on the matchup and who we're playing, but they've done a really good job, and Troy's done a really good job with it.
Yeah, you've coached long enough now where some guys that you've coached have turned into coaches. What have you seen out of Troy since you brought him back? You coached him 2 years ago. He always had that kind of feel that he'd be a great coach, but how would you describe like him as a young coach with your guys?
Yeah, he's done well. So in his role, he's not allowed to do a lot of forward out coaching. It's kind of through us, but I always knew he'd be a coach. Just like I hope one day Hunter Haas is a coach or Wyatt Hensler is a coach. Those type of guys, you just know when you're around them, like, hey, they can do this. just because how they carry themselves and how you hear them talking to their teammates and they don't even realize they're doing it. So he's done an awesome job. He's got a bright future, and I'm really glad he's here. He's been a huge help because I know absolutely nothing about catching.
Well, in the pitching side of it, you have said that one of the biggest differences of you being a hitting coach and now a head coach is you've got to worry about pitchers.
Yeah.
So I know Ryan Brauninger hasn't thrown this fall. I believe Lampkin is shut down.
Yep.
So how much of, similarly to the position players, is this pitching, hey, we're shutting you down just because I know what you've got and I need you healthy in February?
Yeah, and a lot of that was JK's call, and I just agreed with his reasoning. And yeah, I know what Justin Lampkin can do, and JK wanted to get a certain amount of time with him to work on a couple things, just so when they picked it back up, when he starts again, they're ready to go. And then I think Prager kind of speaks for himself. He's doing some, he's going to go to a couple different biomechanic labs to just kind of see if he can refine a shape or just make him just 1% better. So, all of that, a lot of that's JK's call. And for me, those guys, I don't sleep at night because of pitchers. Have
you been pleased though with how
they've been great. I mean, there's been guys that who've come in like Fresh Corn from McLennan. The knock on him coming in was, he has a really good arm, does a ton of strikes, but doesn't have a slider. Well, if you've seen the last couple outings, like the slider was really good. So JK's done a great job with him. And then guys like Jackson Brousseau, who redshirted last year, left-handed pitcher. His first outing, he didn't throw a single strike, but he hit 98. Next outing, it was better. Third outing, it was better. Fourth outing, it was great. Yeah. Looked like we had another piece. So yeah, finding those guys like Luke Jackson, Ty Baker has been great. And he, it's funny how players view performance over how coaches view performance. So Ty, his first outing, he was in the zone and he got hit. As soon as he got hit, started scattering. Next outing in the zone, dominant. Next outing in the zone, and they banged him around really good, but he never stopped throwing strikes. Next outing came out, was good again. I tried to tell him, I said, hey, if we play on Sunday and you get hit around and we get to the next Sunday, what gives me more? If you get hit a lot, but you throw strikes, you think that bothers me? It doesn't. Like, baseball's hard. So, you've seen it. His progression has been great. And guys, they did hit him that one time, but they do not like facing him. So I just want to see him continue to get better and build that trust factor him and JK have. And he's a redshirt freshman too, just like Brousseau. So that's really exciting that these guys are technically freshmen and they're doing the stuff.
I actually wrote this week, Billy, that to me, one of the biggest maybe fluctuation points, if you're trying to pick apart this team going into the year, could be those second-year arms. And I'm talking about Brousseau and Ty Baker, but it's also Caden Wilson, Isaac Morton. Yeah. Those guys could play a huge role because they're super talented.
Yeah. And I think what JK does super well is he's able to make mechanical adjustments with guys. And why aren't you in the strike zone? Well, this is why. Maybe it's your front side. Maybe it's how you're holding the ball. Maybe it's where you're at on the rubber. Those type of little things, kind of like we do on the hitting side. He's been really good with those guys on that.
That's that group you just said, when you're watching down the stretch last season and then you saw Morton early. And I mean, I'm a big Ty Baker guy just through friendships in the Houston area and just getting to know him when he was younger. But they're going up against a lineup that, I mean, I would say you don't see it often, but it's the SEC. So you're kind of going to see it every weekend. But are there times you've been doing this coaching thing for a while now for being as young as you are? Are there times where you're sitting there at practice, see how I did that? Experienced and didn't want to call them old. But are there times where you're sitting out there at practice early where you're just going, damn, when you mentioned Wyatt, Hensler, and with Cash and Bender up, all these guys with so much power and Sorrell, the whole really up and down the lineup. Are there times where you just sit there and practice and go, damn, this is really this lineup has the potential to be like truly, truly elite?
Yeah, I always say I hope they make a heck of a coach out of me. They're really good. I mean, you might not ever see as much talent on a single roster again, just because of how the rules have changed and the Wyatt Hensler's coming from the Ivy League and the COVID stuff is ending and Matt Bergevin and they're really good. They're super talented. It's a ton of depth. I mean, I struggle sometimes to think about where I'm going to play them all because I could hit a lineup of 13 right now, currently, and that's a good problem to have. And all talented, all great guys, and they all work really, really hard. Like the culture we have in the batting cage, I would challenge against anyone. Just if you would have walked into our practice 2 days ago and seen what those guys are doing in the cage off the we have these really nice pitching machines that can throw all the different pitches and the screen up with the strike zone. Like they got the music going on loud and they're playing a games against each other, like taking at bats and Caden Kent screaming at guys after he does stuff well. Like it was like a comfortable but really, really intense environment. And those guys just freaking work. It's so much fun to be around every day.
And they're doing all this, Billy, without Grahovic and Schott. Can you provide any kind of update on kind of how they're progressing?
Yeah, Gavin, Monday he did 3 sets of 10 off the tee, 30 swings, and it was when a guy hurts his wrist, he was 100 times better than what I expected. I thought it would be weak, rolling over.
Like a transition period.
He said he'd been visualizing his swing, and then Wednesday he did 40, and then today I got 50 with him. He's been doing ground balls. Jace is completely fine, and then shots close to getting back to hitting. So I'll have a lot of work to do on the back end with Schott and Gavin, like November, December, similar. Appel was hurt a little bit last year, had a minor surgery, so I hit a ton with him in December since he's on the injured list. So just kind of those guys are in the winter season, so that'll be a good time.
How many times do you and Caleb and JK and Will Fox even go through a whiteboard and write through lineups here? Because like it's so much fun for me to do. It's one of the more popular topics when we talk baseball. Yeah. Everybody's like, Bronny, write a lineup, and I'm sure you guys have done that, but it just seems like it's a fun exercise to do because there's so many options of just who's in it, but where to put them.
Right. Yeah. And I believe in balance. Like I like to do right, left, depending on the matchup. And yeah, I've had lineups where I have the same guy at 1 and then the next lineup he's at 9, really? just with the balance. And obviously, Jace is going to be up there high, Gavin's going to be up there high, and then the rest is kind of work itself out. But at the same time, there's a ton of competition too. Like you want to wait around and you want to be patient, and baseball's hard, but at the same time, like there's guys. So it's going to be the most competitive lineup. I don't expect it to be the same all the time. That would be great because that means it's going well, but I think you'll see some different ones, and we're going to do some different stuff this year, shake it up.
With football playing such a big game tomorrow night, I did want to bring up a true freshman that you spoke about yesterday in the media gathering, and Terrence Keel Jr. You said he's going to start in center field. Sorrell will play right. What is TK? How has he progressed since he's been on campus, and what has he done to earn the right to start tomorrow night?
He's progressed a ton. And it's like any high school freshman. Like I'm sure TK is one of the best players to ever play at his high school. He's the best football player at his high school, the best baseball player. You ever see his football highlights?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're really good.
Yeah.
And he's just progressed. Maturity level, everything. He can really run. Obviously, he has a knack to put the bat on the ball, and he just competes. And we've been playing him at second base a lot just because he is an outfielder, but I'm trying to just get him more versatile. Maybe necessarily not for this year, but for the future. I know I can put him out in center field any day, and he's going to be fine. So he's actually been playing second a ton. But yeah, he'll play center the first 7 and then second the last 5, and he's been great. He just really, really gets after it every single day, goes about his business, and gets out.
Well, we were joking with him yesterday because obviously he could play football at probably both these teams playing tomorrow night. I wanted to ask you, I know what a big football guy you are, and what are your thoughts on what Mike Elko's done in year 1? And then also just give us your scouting report of tomorrow night's game.
You guys have met him, and I've said it before. He just has a unique ability to communicate. Like just even the few times I've talked to him, like just how he's talked to me and how I felt like I've known him and I haven't. I can't imagine how he's able to project that on the team. And I hear how he makes them practice, how he holds people accountable. I think what he's done has been great. Great. I mean, I hope we can replicate that. And scouting report wise tomorrow,
it's going to be loud.
It's going to be loud. Yeah. I got it. 31-27 Aggies.
There you go.
That sounds like a pretty good score, actually, when we make predictions later.
If that actually happens and he's like with the way the baseball momentum's going, and then if you accurately predict a score for A&M LSU football, there's going to be a lot of people wanting to show up. You could
They'll
have
be at
sold
the
some more
gym at
seats.
5:30 looking for
more
selfies.
selfies.
What's the flip side of that?
Oh, yeah.
No, and they'll be,
No, for
trust
sure.
me, they'll find plenty of other people to be mad at. I'm going 27-23, but the last thing I wanted to ask you when we're talking about this, just in terms of culture in an athletic department and you know, just to have, like I just said, you're a huge football fan and I know you guys love going there and bringing recruits and everything. But just to have the football coach at a place like this be as big a baseball fan as he is, whether he's sitting in a suite on the third baseline or hiding up in the press box somewhere, what does that mean to you as a young coach?
It's just cool. He's just very present.
Yeah.
And I was at Arizona State here, and it's no knock on any other football coach or basketball coach, but he's more present. Like he's at the meetings, he's at the stuff that all the other coaches are at, and that's not always the case. So just comes off as a very normal guy, but I can tell, and I've heard behind those eyes, he's a freaking competitor and intense, which I respect a ton.
Yeah.
Nuño, since you're back, can we address this burner account situation?
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
Well, Mike had to quit going to the gym with us because somebody was commenting on TexAgs about his squat depth not being deep enough.
That wasn't not me.
Well,
it must not have been me because I ain't squatting.
Yeah, I was about to say, like,
And by the way, you guys know me. If I saw it, I would go tell them in person.
right,
I'm not
yeah.
going to write about it.
sadly, you are actually right.
Yeah, this guy's a machine. I see him.
Yeah.
Jeez, don't stop.
We just
We need
talk
to go to
more in there.
break.
He's in there doing sprints.
Yeah, he does. Like he's the guy doing farmer carries and laps around the.
We had did he send you the video from yesterday, Billy and I
Oh, they
fighting?
sparred. I'll send it to you.
Sparred?
They sparred in the office.
My moves were pretty.
Yeah.
I mean, for someone,
I move that was coming, do that same move again so I can do something that you
I'm
can't
just saying, man. There's a lot of head down charge in there, and I see enough MMA where I'm just going to step back and just shove you right down.
What if you guys did the show at Gold's while you worked out?
That would be pretty. That would be a really good show, actually.
People would start counting your reps, though.
I would still get my workout in.
Yeah.
Well, in fairness, Early, you're not the only one that's left the gym because we've successfly run him out too.
Yeah, we
I
have.
go there
He got
still.
tired of us making fun of his attire. Too much.
You're telling a
sleeveless.
guy who's got guns about another guy with guns.
I've never seen him sleeveless in public.
I've never seen you sleep.
Thank you. Twice in the 3.5 years I've been here. Twice.
Billy was in there both days.
People don't forget.
Yeah, and you know why I do it? Because I can. All right, we're going to talk about Milligan Reserve here. Farm to Table Community College Station. They got homes, they got trails, they got farms, they got wide open spaces with a mission to build a healthy community around nature. You need to check it out. You can go hiking there.
I gotta go get some donuts now.
While you're hiking and biking, canoeing with donuts, equestrian trails, evening yoga, summer camps, music festivals. Check out the website, millikenreserve.com. Check out the real estate there as well, millikenreserve.com.
Mic check 1, 2. And we're back on TexAgs Live. We're presented by David Gardner Jewelers. We're in the Rollo Insurance Studio. Appreciate everybody listening in this morning and hanging out with us at the Angry Elephant in South College Station. Coach Earley came by. It was awesome. He's still over here talking. Brauninger and Liucci are here as well. A couple things I want to get into. I'm going to read some text messages on the Little Sluggers text line. And since Billy is not back, I will hit another break here in a moment. But I do want to hit a couple of those, and we'll do that here in a moment. But I got to get my my copy ready because Little Sluggers is age-appropriate baseball. For kids, baseball fundamental classes in Aggieland, Houston, Austin, and Brenham for kids 2 to 8. Sign up for a free trial at codosports.com. That is codosports.com. All right, a couple of the text messages that I want to get into. David in the Pacific Northwest, Steve Shaw, the SEC head of officials, announced that A&M will start every offensive drive at 1st and 20 because of holding calls, and Dalton Brooks has already been called for targeting. No, I don't think that's going to be the case. I do think last week was pretty bad officiating. That I do, but Quentin in College Station, geez, guys, talk with more positivity. Aggies 34-17. I'm sorry, Nick. Can you put your headset on? Because I don't remember any of us being negative here. Quentin, come on, guys, talk with more positivity. Geez, Aggies 34-17. Geez, Quentin, I'm sorry. I think we both predicted A&M to win the game.
Yeah, I think I haven't heard a prediction that isn't for A&M today.
So if I remember, this is a true story. We're going to hit a break here in a second, but this is a true story. I lost a listener last year. And you probably remember
this, yeah.
Tennessee game. I unfortunately predicted A&M would lose because I got to a point that I was like...
They hadn't won a road game in forever.
They hadn't won a road game in forever. So I was like, until they win a road game, I'm picking them to lose on the road. Until Mike Elko became the head coach, right? And this guy sent me a message saying, I will never listen to TexAgs again. And I was like, all right, good.
Oh, well.
All right, see you later.
Yeah.
I'm going to hit a break here to get us back on track, Billy. You can say something if you want, but I'm going to hit a break here because you guys just ran through 3 stop signs during that segment. Moment for Caldwell Country Chevrolet, Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com. When you go to CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com, you can see the vehicles that they have on hand, and you get a kind of a sense for the pricing and what they have there on the lot. But when you go there, you're going to be blown away by the entire experience. And yes, you're saying, yeah, David, it's a car dealership. How great of an experience. You like free complimentary pickup and delivery for your service? Yes, you do. Do you want free oil changes for life on the life of the vehicle as long as you own that vehicle for Caldwell Country Chevrolet? Yes, you do. You want good pricing? You want good trade-in value? They do that all at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. It's about a 15-minute drive, the edge of Bryan to the beginnings of Caldwell. Short conversation away, but you'll see the difference when you step on the lot and do business with the great people at Caldwell Country Chevrolet. Highway 21 in Caldwell, online, CaldwellCountryChevrolet.com.
And we're back on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers Rollo Insurance Studio. Where's the claps? Nick, you didn't get the people to clap. That was okay. Much better. Thank you very much. Can we get a shout out to Greg Jasper in the house? Where's Greg? There he is. Everybody say hi to Greg. This is his place, Angry Elephant, here in South College Station. Come hang out with us. It's a great time. Billy will be back inside here. Who knows? But I don't know if Olin has found his keys yet. But if he hasn't found his keys, anybody who helps him find his key, I was told he found them. All right. Well, never disregard. I was going to say he was going to buy him a water, but I guess he's not going to do that. So we are being asked if there's going to be a tailgate tomorrow. Yes, there is going to be a tailgate at TexAgs. Come hang out with us. I know the entire crew. And also, one thing I haven't mentioned, the TexAgs tailgate show tomorrow begins. And that's going to be a show that's going to have Richard Zane hosting it. We're going to do a pregame show 90 minutes before kickoff. I'll be chiming in from Kyle Field, and I know Richard will be in the studio. We'll have some other things going on. So if you're looking for game day, new, fresh content, we will bring that to you tomorrow from Kyle Field and, of course, from the TexAgs brand new studios. So the question that has been asking, what is this game going to come down to? And I think it's pretty simple. There's two things that this game comes down to. I'm gonna dumb it down. What are those books called? Football for Dummies. I'm gonna dumb it down. Two things have to happen, and A&M is going to win this game. That is, Connor Wigman has to keep the interceptions down. One thing that I think he has shown in his career to do more of, right? He is more of, as in more good, not bad. Throughout his career, this year has been a little different in 2 games, but throughout his career, he's kept those interceptions down. If Connor keeps those picks down, I think A&M is going to win this game, and hopefully by more than the 3 points or 4 points, whatever we predicted earlier. Hopefully by more than that. But I do believe if we can keep the interceptions down, this offense is going to be able to expose a secondary for LSU that has been suspect. That's the first thing that I want to see. The other thing is, we take it for granted at times. It's the defensive line against the LSU offensive line. In our mind, we're like, that's the best defensive line in America. They're gonna make every quarterback run for their life. The problem there is, and I agree with it, and I think we're about to show LSU what a real defensive line looks like. The problem with that is LSU has been phenomenal at protecting. They have been better than advertised at protecting Nuss. He's been really accurate, and he's been really protected. But if you can hurry him and put him in some bad positions, I do believe that you will see success for Texas A&M. Those are the two things that, to me, it boils down to. Obviously, you want to see clean special teams. You want to see a defense that wins the takeaway battle. All those things are in play. But if we were to dumb it down to 2 major points, Connor has to play clean football. And when is Connor at his best? Well, according to stats, he's at his best when he's under pressure. I don't want to see him under pressure. I want to see him cool, calm, and collect like we've seen him for most of his career. But the flip side to that is, if he is under duress, he has shown an ability to lock in and do his most accurate football. So those are a couple of the areas that I want to see. We're going to have Billy on the edge. Okay, no, wherever you want. I want you comfortable. That's what I want. I want Billy comfortable. Billy, I asked a question to myself, but it was actually asked on the YouTube chat. What does this game boil down to? And to me, if you're going to simplify it, it's a couple areas: clean football and get to Nuss. If you do those 2 things, you walk away with a victory, and you are 7-1 going to South Carolina.
Close, but not quite.
Okay, tell me more.
To me, my opinion, which is, I agree with everything you just said. I think you've got to get to Nussmeier, and you've got to pressure him and hit him and knock him around. He's not a very big guy. He runs his mouth a lot. And I'm not talking about something he said at a Manning camp. Just like, he's a guy that'll start talking, and that whole LSU team, when it's going well for them, historically, they can snowball it. They're a very momentum-oriented group down there in Baton Rouge. They have been since I've been watching them, which goes back to even prior to A&M joining the SEC. I've probably taken at least 3-4 trips to Death Valley before A&M even went in the SEC, and that's not counting when the Aggies played them back when I was in school. So that is a very momentum-oriented group of players. Kyron Lacey, Garrett Nussmeier, Caden Durham, that defense, they thrive off of, when it's going good, they can pile it on.
Right.
So your job as the home team in this environment in Texas A&M is to keep that from happening. And that starts, I absolutely believe it starts with that quarterback. He's really good, but you can get him into a place where he'll throw a lot of incompletions and maybe some picks and maybe make some bad decisions. But I think what's made him so special is you see that number of limited sacks. Part of that's because of the offensive line. Part of it is because he does a really good job of eluding pressure. So that number tells you he hasn't taken much of a physical beating this year. That does not mean he can't take one this week. And that's got to be the goal of that Aggie defensive front, Mike Elko, and how he's going to scheme it. So I think they'll be particularly aggressive against this guy in this offense. And then you can always adjust back off of that if that's not what's getting it done. You know, if you're not covering their guys and he's getting the ball off and you might need to adjust. But I think you come after them, that quarterback, I think you come after him aggressively. And going back to what you said about a clean game, completely agree, and they did not do that last week, but I don't think it's accurate enough to say just that and they win, because it kind of ties into what you're saying about the clean game is Connor Wigman has to play well. He doesn't have to throw for more yards than Garrett Nussmeier. He doesn't have to have a career game, although those things would be super nice. He just has to play well. We know what it looks like. You have to walk away and go, man, he played a really good game, like he did the last time he started against LSU. It doesn't have to look like Missouri, where we're sitting there going, damn, that was damn near flawless.
Right.
Again, that'd be great. It doesn't have to be like it, just to where we walk away and go, 15 played really well, and he's a big part of why A&M won that football game. I don't think the Aggies win tomorrow night if we're not saying that. And if we're saying that, my other thing that they have to do is you have to hit these dudes in their mouth on every snap, every play. You have to be more physical than LSU. You have to be tired of hearing about Whit Weeks. You have to be tired of seeing number 4 run his mouth on Twitter. You have to be tired of hearing everybody pick LSU this week. You got to be sick and tired of it. And you have to want to go out there and like physically beat their ass, because that's the only thing those guys respond to in Baton Rouge. Kick their ass. Like A&M did 2 years ago behind Devon A-Chain. You line up and you physically whip their butts for 4 quarters.
You remember
and Nick Scorton, Shamar Turner, Shamar Stewart, Albert Regis, all those other D linemen, York, Scooby, Damian Sanford, like you fly around and hit these dudes. And part of that offensive line, hey, Chase Basantis is out. Guess what, TJ Shanahan? Go in there and just maul people. You've got to take this one personally, in my opinion. If I wore that uniform and I was in that building, I would take this one very personally, because there's so much at stake. They're trying to come in here and take what's yours. They want to take what's yours. Their fan base wants to chirp. They've been chirping all week. Their players have been chirping. You need to go out and take what's yours. And they're trying to take away your season. And you have the opportunity not only to keep them from doing that, but to ruin their season. You have an opportunity to essentially put them out of any conversation. And what better opportunity than you could ask for than to be able to do that at home. So I went off on a tangent there talking about physically getting after them. But what that ties into was the other thing that I think has to happen tomorrow. The Aggies have to slow down that running game in Caden Durham. If you can make them one-dimensional, and I know they're used to throwing it a lot, but that's not when they're at their best. If Caden Durham's making plays on the ground and they're able to be two-dimensional, that's when you're in the danger zone with them. That's when you're in trouble and at real risk of losing a football game. So to me, it's more about physicality on both lines of scrimmage. Texas A&M has to be the more physical team tomorrow.
We got to hit a break here, but I'll say that's one thing that has been so nice to watch is that when a team is able to run the ball on A&M for a quarter or for a half, they have flipped the script in the second half.
Yeah.
Like Mississippi State after the first quarter did not run well.
No.
Arkansas, Jaquindon Jackson started off okay, and then it was over. Right.
Yeah, no, they need to, that Caden Durham versus Le'Veon Moss comparison at the end of the game, I think will be pretty telling if you're trying to just look at one number and dictate who got the best of this one. I'd look at that. I'd look at turnovers.
All right, we're going to hit a break here. We'll come back with a short segment on the other side before the final countdown. Right now, we're talking Heritage Films here on TexAgs. That's Chance McClain's company. They make documentary films about families and family businesses and family ranches, and really just about the patriarch, the matriarch of your family. You want to tell that story, you should have it done by a first-class guy in Chance McClain, the most artistic person I know. He'll tell your father's story, your grandfather's story, and he'll do it in a 2-hour documentary style. And it is something that your entire family is going to cherish. And I'm talking about not just this generation, the generations to come. When we did my dad's story, my kids got to watch it. In a few years, they're going to be a little bit older. That's going to be a little bit more impactful. When they have kids, it's going to be way more impactful. Think about the next generation and the generation after that. The website is yourheritagefilm.com. Yourheritagefilm.com, 713-893-8341, 713-893-8341. And we're back here on TexAgs Live, presented by David Gardner's Jewelers, Rollo Insurance Studio. Angry Elephant in South College Station. Got a text that comes in from on the Little Slugger text line from Walker in Houston. It says, taking loyalty out of it, Do you think Elko would trade Wegman? No, he would not trade him for Nuss. Is that a good that Arkansas and Ole Miss games are misleading to some extent? I would say to all this, we're about to see what Nuss is made of against a really good defense. And I don't know if he's seen a really good defense. And if you go back to the Arkansas game last week, and I think they're a good defense.
Ole Miss is, I think, I wouldn't call Arkansas. Go ahead, and I'm going to tell you my thought on it. Finish that.
Well,
sorry.
What I was going to say is Arkansas's defense, Roy, I think is pretty good. When their offense doesn't have Jaquin Jackson and you're making Taylor Green pass the ball, I think it hurts the defense in that.
Yeah, they're on the. I mean, they're playing from behind. They're on the field too much. But Arkansas's defense is solid. It's a good, solid defense, and they made LSU earn what they got. But Ole Miss defense should have. You'll watch that game, and they should. I think that's a good defense, and they should have shut. It is a good defense, and they should have shut LSU down. And Nussmeier, go look at his stats before their last drive of the game. I mean, of regulation there. I mean, he's sitting at like 40% completion. They had a rough go of it against Ole Miss, and the Rebels really, what they really did was gave that game away. And South Carolina was up all over them 17-0. LSU figured it out. Then Nuss throws a costly pick six that should have lost them the game. So I'm not making them the be all end all here. I think people are getting way too fired up about them. I think it's a very evenly matched football game.
All right, we'll come back with a final countdown. TexAgs Live at the Angry Elephant.
step over there.
Oh, he did. Oh, this loser.
He drove all. That's what I was about to say.
Did?
Yes. We talked about it this morning too.
Typical Steve.
Yeah,
I can't.
pathetic.
It's actually not typical. That would be typical me. So I'm glad he did it, so we can make fun of him.
And he ruined my Halloween outfit. I tried to dress like Jerry Glanville.
You dressed like him.
Steve McKinney, but also celebrate the blackout that we're going through, and can't even joke about it.
I think he's still going to be here, so you could still do it.
Good.
As long as he's probably listening. We're going to give it away. But going back, Seth, when you walked in, Nussmeier against Ole Miss, which I think is a comparable defense to A&M, going into their final drive of the game, and look, I'm not saying it's a 4-quarter game for a reason, and that dude was nails down the stretch, and he really showed you what he can do if you let him get in rhythm and get hot. But from that final drive till the end of the game, through overtime, he threw for like 105 yards and 2 touchdowns. Prior to the final drive of the game, he was at 230 yards with 1 touchdown, 2 picks. Even including that hot finish, he was 22 of 51 in that game at home. So, yeah, and I know people, the popular thing nowadays by morons in this profession is to downplay the Kyle Field advantage. And I know a lot of them are smarter than me, and they just choose not to be smart, I guess, when they talk, which is not the greatest trait if you're going to get behind a microphone. But when they want to look at numbers of Texas A&M at home to try to dictate and determine what a home field advantage is, it's misleading.
I thought you had a great tweet the other day.
What was it?
I don't know, 2018. What are we, 5-0, something like that?
Not 5-0. They've won 5.
We've won 5. All right, whatever.
And Texas has won 0 since 2000.
That's right. We are. We were a little shady with that stat. Yeah, I appreciate it.
But to win 5. I believe the number might actually be 6, depending on the year. They beat Missouri. They beat LSU twice, by the way, for those that have just magically wanted to forget that. They beat 2 top 10 LSU teams in their last 3 trips here. They beat Bama, and they beat number 3 Florida, and that was number 1.
Well, first off, wouldn't you say, I think it's just straight up nonsense for someone to say that downplay the Kyle Field home field advantage, because it's just well-known fact that when you come
in it, you know more than all these. I feel like I can't say it enough. Clowns like troglodytes,
there you go,
scumbags, whatever you want to call them. You've played Kyle Field.
It's just good fun trash talk that they're going through, but it's just not true.
Yeah,
like you could go to whatever they call them, so DKR, whatever, this, that, and the other field. That it's not comparable.
Yeah.
All right. It's just not. And, if you come to Kyle Field, especially on Saturday night, you'll see the difference that it makes. And I'm not saying like Baton Rouge, that's tough. That's a great environment. And there's no way that you can compare that to Texas either.
I love the environment in Death Valley. And what I told someone.
And I don't understand why both things can't exist. I mean, I think they're both true. That's a great home field advantage at Death Valley, and this is too.
I plan on going there in 2 weeks and watching LSU Bama. I've been to an LSU Bama football game with Nick Saban on the sideline of Bama and a highly ranked LSU team on the other side. It's awesome. I was telling little LSU fan Addie B saying, no, you can't compare. I said, no, both are equally allowed. Like, to say that any quarterback or any media talking head or anything shouldn't downplay Kyle Field has nothing to do with Death Valley. If that game was in Death Valley, we'd spend all week talking about Connor Wigman and these guys having to overcome that environment.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's most places in the SEC. But to me, and I've been to all of them almost, it's like Death Valley and Knoxville actually really stand out, along with Tuscaloosa and Bama. But who wouldn't when you win 18 national titles in a row, whatever. So, but those are the ones that really, truly stand out, even more so than Athens, even more so than Gainesville. Kyle Field, let's look at those 5 wins. Bama, number 1, Texas A&M, I believe, unranked. LSU number 4 or 5. I think they were number 5. A&M unranked and 4-7 2 years ago. Maybe A&M was ranked between that 20 to 25 range when Joe Burrow and them came in 2018. 7 overtimes. They were top 10. A&M beat them. Missouri, A&M was 25th. Mizzou was number 8. I mean, these games that we're talking about, A&M, even in those games they've won, been significantly lower ranked team. That's why if people that want to talk about, oh, where's the home field advantage?
Yeah.
You go look.
Just
the
look it
Aggies
up.
Haven't typically been, and we hate it.
There's a difference between talent on the field and what happens in the crowd.
We wish it wasn't true.
Yeah,
but A&M has not typically been the better team because for the last 20 years, since you guys won an Big 12 title, there's been like 2 A&M football teams that have finished a season ranked in the top 10. So when you have the number 1, number 3, number 5 team coming in here, they're typically going to be either significantly favored or they have a big talent advantage or whatever it is. So yeah, the winning percentage isn't going to be as high as people want, but that's not the case on Saturday night. Tomorrow night, that is not the case because what Mike Elko and his team have done is they've gotten to 6-1. They've played really good football. They've beaten some teams that have turned out to look better than they were expected to, with Arkansas. And by the way, with the way Florida's playing of late, Notre Dame's turned it on and figured it out. So they've played a nice little schedule. It's not the toughest in the country, but they've played a nice little schedule. By the way, Missouri's going to get humiliated this weekend. So
yeah, they are.
Oh, come on.
A&M needs to win. Well, Brady Cooks.
He's supposed to be out.
He's supposed to be out, and they're starting running back. So not going into Tuscaloosa, even though Bama's been struggling, it's not really what you want to do without your quarterback and tailback when your whole team is built around your offense. So, but they've earned their way into this spot by being a really good football team, and LSU likewise has earned their way into that spot by being a really good football team. And I think the winner of Saturday night's game, I keep saying Saturday, this thing is on us. It's tomorrow. The winner of tomorrow night's game is going to give themselves a chance to be considered a great football team. They won't be tomorrow night at 10:30 walking off the field, but now you've put it in play.
Yeah.
Where if A&M wins and they can go out and beat South Carolina, or if LSU wins and they can go out and beat Bama in their next game, that's when you start considering, hey,
I'm thinking crazy over here.
Yeah. Well, Seth, what do you think? I want to talk to you about Chase Besantis being out.
Yeah.
And what impact you think that has. Because I feel like, and you and I think, agree with this, the guy's been playing at an all SEC level.
No, I mean, the guy, like, look, for him to go out is bad for him and the team. But I will say this, that you got guys that stepped up and played well that came back from injury. Shanahan went in and did an effective job, and that's just the mentality. And our boy Dan Campbell said the same thing. And I know that Besantis is not out for the year, but when Hutch went out, is like next man. And it's the fact is that's the kind of team and the mentality that you have to have. Is like, look, everybody loves you, Chase, but guess what? Next man. All right, I mean that's just how it works. And everybody wants the best for whoever it's going to be that rolls out there. And I have no doubt that we've all seen the way that those guys can play that are going in. And, will there be a drop off? Most likely, yeah, because that's how good Besantis is. I mean, he's a great player. But I don't think that we should, skip a beat there. I know LSU has a great defense and a great defensive line, but I also have faith in the way that and what Cushing is coaching up there and the way they played. I should not doubt. I have no doubt, as a guy, somebody that's been through and someone that's seen what they're doing this year, that they're going to roll out an offensive line that is well prepared and will do a great job.
What do you think about their defensive line, Billy?
I like the guy that's yapping
Swinson
on Twitter. Whatever. It's been funny to me to watch the media trip all over themselves to try to, oh man, this is a great opportunity for clicks. And they just start retweeting it and quote, and it's just like you watch, like, as the minutes went by, everyone trying to be the one to hit the banger out of the one that hit out of the Swinton, Armage, Reed Adams stuff. But it's like sometimes you just have to put your hands up and say, I'm going to sit this one out, because it was like just dork patrol over there.
Oh, this could not have gone any better.
Uber geek walking in.
Yes. Look at this.
Glanville. Look what Seth's wearing.
Happy Halloween, brother. This is great. Well, you're always all black, so this just worked out perfectly. Dark Aggie.
Seth thinks he gets out of uniform one day, and we're supposed to celebrate it.
It's Halloween.
Yeah, it's like there's some huge surprise.
Assume you're just
I'm dressed like Steve. That's the joke. Get on board.
Aha. Hilarious.
Hey, sorry, I guess I didn't text you about the
cheese and everything.
Yeah, I walk into y'all studio. I see y'all on the
you
screen.
have the McDonald's pants.
I don't recognize that backdrop.
Steve, sure I texted the group.
Apparently, he texted the group. Seth told you.
I did tell you this morning.
And you were 50 yards away working out.
I know. Yeah.
I mean,
a nice little driver on College Station.
I'm not making fun of you, because I would do the same thing. By the way, do you see who's sitting over there? Or is he? The lumpster.
Lumpy. What's up, man?
So, no, Steve,
we're talking about the line.
Oh, you were asking me about their defensive line, and I said Swinton. I've watched them a lot this year. He's scary good off the edge. And it pisses you off, because I don't think even they thought he was going to be that this year. And I damn sure know that their fans weren't banging the Whit Weeks drum, honky badger or whatever they're calling them. Yeah, they weren't. I know they weren't. But I know, like, at the end of last season, they weren't like, man, our front seven's going to be really nice because we got Whit Weeks and Swinton. But that's how it's worked out. And those two guys, they're just flat out balling.
Yeah,
you watch
absolutely.
and you watch 40, and they make plays everywhere. So yeah, I mean, they're a problem, which is interesting, because I do think if you can get time, I do think, whereas their secondary has probably gotten a little better, I still think you can absolutely have them on the back, in the back end of that defense if you give Wigman time to throw and you let plays develop.
As a reminder, the final segment of the show is brought to you by Double Dave's. That is at 10:50. But right now, caller number 12, 979-693-1150. We'll hook you up with your choice of a dozen pepperoni rolls and a large one-topping pizza from Double Dave's. They've been serving Aggieland since 1984 with your favorite pizza. And, of course, those world-famous pepperoni rolls. Reliable in-house delivery, bringing piping hot goodness straight to your door. Just click on doubledaves.com, and your favorites are on their way. Steve, I want you to weigh in on the offensive line side of things, because we talked a little bit about the injury situation, the Chase Basantis, and how that's going to affect the group overall.
Well, I mean, you're really replacing him with a guy that started. I'm guessing Newberry's taking his spot.
It's DJ Shanahan.
Shanahan, just as good. I mean, Shanahan, when he was playing at center, I mean, you could tell that he was ready to play. He was playing at a very high physical level, even for SEC standards. So, replacing Basantis, is he going to completely fill his shoes? Probably not. But I think that the drop off is going to be minimal enough. And I still think you maintain that nastiness, that attitude that the O-line's been playing with. So from that standpoint, I'm not as concerned.
Here's the stat I found. LSU has allowed over 200 yards rushing just once this season. South Carolina did average almost 6 yards per carry. And that's the only offense that's been able to run the ball on them. A&M's bread and butter
South Carolina gashed them.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, hopefully we can pick it up from last week.
I heard
in the running game.
I saw a little reel or whatever, and it was pretty unbiased assessment from an LSU guy, and he was like breaking down what these run defenses were that A&M's played in the SEC, and they're not very good. It's Missouri, it's Arkansas, it's Florida. I thought Arkansas's run defense was pretty good to the eyeball test, but he was going just statistically. And look, they ran on Arkansas too. So, but it was Arkansas, Florida, Missouri, and Mississippi State, right? But then I'm waiting for the capper. Was he going to tell me LSU's run defense was ranked third in the SEC, whatever they were? Because before I'd looked it up, and they're like 8th or 9th. So I think they're 9th, and they're like right in the middle of the 16-team pack. And the teams A&M played, one of them, Mississippi State, was second to last. Okay, that's great. And I agree. The A&M did not run the ball as well against Mississippi State as I thought. They also had 2 carries for 70 yards called back
off of penalties that had nothing to do with the run. Like the worst holding call in history
bad.
on Armaj Reed Adams, and then the other one was an illegal formation.
And you're going to get there, but I know that. But those are the runs that break teams' backs. So you're able to open up and you're able to do more in the fourth quarter, but run the ball more effectively when you're able to get chunk plays. Like nobody runs for 6 yards to carry without a big chunk play. It just doesn't happen. And so that's what
they had 75 more rushing yards, should have been to that total. And then what does that number look like that you did against that state defense? So there's a lot that's not factored in there. But my real point is that we watch A&M, right? We feel like that's a good running football team right now.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, and not only are they a good running football team, they can easily affect the passing game if we can get Connor back on target. Because if you see the Connor that you saw against Missouri, or what was the second game? McNeese, where his accuracy was on point.
And by the way, he made some really good throws Saturday.
Yeah,
he just had some. He had some really
bad throws
dangerous plays. Yeah,
some good ones and some boneheaded plays.
I think it had more to do with what he was seeing. The one, it definitely flipped out of his hand weird.
Yeah, it did.
But outside of that, it wasn't the throwing. It was like, what was he seeing out there?
That's what concerns you. It's the eyes. Right. Is his eyes going to be ready on Saturday? Because if he's the Connor that he can be, I mean, I think A&M walks away with a win here.
Well, Chili here on the YouTube page, he's an LSU fan, very nice, contributes to the show off, and he says that South Carolina, the difference in that game is that South Carolina has a mobile quarterback.
They do,
and he says A&M does not.
That is true. Sellers was cutting them up, and it really opened things up for Rocket Sanders. I watched that game, and they were gashing the LSU defense, but a lot of that did have to do with Sellers. And when he got hurt, Robbie Ashford couldn't do it because he was a non-threat as a passer.
Right.
That's so. Yes, I agree with Chili there, but I wonder if Chili agrees with me that I don't think LSU wins that football game if Sellers doesn't get hurt. I don't think LSU wins that football game if Ole Miss doesn't melt down in the first half. That doesn't. And by the way, that doesn't mean that LSU can't come in here and beat A&M. All I'm saying is I think those two victories. I think people around this league that I've heard talk about the game this week and friends of mine and I really respect, I think they're wrong. They're not. LSU could win the game. That doesn't make them right. A&M can win the game.
What are you getting at? What are you saying?
Most people that I'm listening to seem to think LSU is this rocket ship going up.
Come on.
And they're not talking about A&M in the same light. And they think Nussmeier is borderline going to get coronated as a Heisman contender. And that thing's going through the roof. And I'm saying, if you really have been watching LSU, that's not true. And if you've been watching A&M, the two teams to me, and again, people love to twist. They've gotten, right, there's this cottage industry of twisting what I say. So they'll cut right there. There.
Oh, Donald Trump over here.
I think,
I think the angry elephant, by the way.
Yeah. I think both teams are on a significant ascent. I think Nussmeier is really good. I think Weeks is incredible. I watch him, guys. I think a Dat win right now with the way he's playing. They've got a great tight end, a great receiver, and a great receiving core, but with Lacey's ridiculous. They've got the quarterback. They've got the two tackles. I mean, they're Caden Durham, the running back. I've followed him since he was at DeSoto High School. He's really good. Is he DeSoto or Duncan? But he's DeSoto. What?
Nothing.
What'd you say?
I thought
He's
it was
correcting you.
I thought it was Duncan, but I'll look at him. You know more
anyway, I watched him in high school a lot. Like A&M recruited him.
Regardless,
there's a ton of talent on offense. They've got raw athletes on. Okay, Duncan. DeSoto's A&M's running back, Tiger, this year. So they've got a ton of talent on offense. There's nothing wrong with that team. But what I think people are missing is they're both doing this, but neither team is great. And nothing LSU has done is great. And nothing A&M's done is great, other than they've both started with a loss and they've won every game since. That's great. But LSU could easily easily have 2 and easily have 3 losses. Texas A&M could have easily lost the Arkansas game, and they could have lost Bowling Green a few weeks ago. So I just think the coverage and how people see this thing going is what's off.
Yeah,
I think it's a total
disappointing if people actually think that. I think that you've got 2 really good teams out there that have found a way to win, and that's what makes this game so exciting. And I mean, like, if they're so adamant about LSU winning, put your money on the line and bet that's what 2-point spread or whatever now, you know.
Yeah. Well, I don't know where this narrative's coming from, because that's not what I'm hearing. You know, I'm listening to the national radio and watching the national broadcasters talk. They're giving A&M love. I mean, it seems to me very split. You know, I think you got 2 teams that are very.
I don't know what you're watching.
I feel like
I'm hearing a lot of
Billy's algorithm is so negative toward A&M.
I don't think he's watching. I think he's just saying this right now.
I swear,
this is the same guy.
Listen to the radio on the way down.
This is the same guy that couldn't even make his way. He didn't even pay attention to his own phone.
Yeah, I just wasn't that important.
Who picked A&M? Who were you listening to?
It was, Danny Cannell,
David Nuño,
Dusty, and
Dusty's been pretty high on the Aggies.
There was a few though, but I'm saying it's not all LSU. I'm not hearing that.
By the way, Dusty
kind of mixed.
By the way, Dusty's been really. I feel like he does a tremendous job, not only on radio, but when he breaks down games. And
he's good.
And I know just from talking to him, like on A&M's game days, on games he covers, like the amount of work that dude puts into prep. So if you're looking for somebody that's got like staying power in this thing, it's Dusty Dvorak. And it reminds me of like Cole Kubelik was when he was coming up. Must be something about you offensive linemen.
Oh, no. Dusty was a defensive lineman.
Oh, that's true.
I still remember blocking him.
Did you block him?
Yeah.
How'd you do against him? He's pretty small, compared to you.
No, he played at OU, right?
Yeah, he's great player.
Yeah.
How'd you do against him?
I thought I did well.
I believe you, because Seth will tell you when he didn't do well.
Yeah.
I'm not scared.
By the way,
I said it wasn't fun blocking Casey Hampton or Sean Rogers.
I met Sean Rogers last weekend in Dallas after the Cowboys.
Oh yeah,
he's still a big old boy.
Game.
Jeez,
he's actually probably lost quite a bit of weight. He's still big. I mean, he's 6'4", and
in his prime, dude, unblockable. This guy, man. I mean, just
I told him that. I told him what you said about him, and he remembered you. And
oh man, that means a lot. I'm glad he remembered.
He's probably like, I ragdolled that guy. Yeah. Was he on the Aggie offensive line? Because we destroyed them.
I was talking about Cleveland, man. When he was in Cleveland, he's just like
a teammate.
Whenever he wanted to play, he would just ruin practice. It was bad.
If he didn't want you to block him, couldn't.
They basically, coaches were like, "Hey, come on, we're trying to get better here,
guys. Here we go. Time out. The bad guy's giving me the look.
Oh, the clock.
Oh, really?
I mean, he's into
I'm the bad guy.
Total beyond the wrist.
Say goodnight to the bad guy. Okay. Time to talk about the Association of Former Students. They're good guys over there. If you're looking for a reason to move back to Aggie Land, or if you're already in Aggie Land and need a job, you should look at the Association of Former Students. They have jobs available in many different departments. In the past, I've seen fundraising, marketing, sales, you name it. They have a lot of great opportunities there. They're the nation's premier alumni association and the oldest organization supporting that Aggie network. They play a part in every Aggie story from Howdy to here. Don't miss an opportunity to help out the association with Howdy socials, Aggie rain day class reunions, and Aggie muster. If you're interested in joining a team or sharing with someone that would be a great fit, please visit tx.ag/association jobs to apply and get more information on each position. It's the Association of Former Students.
And we're back on TexAgs Live here in Rollo Insurance Studio of the Angry Elephant. Speaking of Rollo, thank you very much, Nick. Appreciate that. That gets the crowd going. Look at this. Speaking of Rollo Insurance, the difference is real at Rollo Insurance, 888-44-ROLLO. Go to rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs to initiate your relief with Rollo today. You should check them out. They've got 60 offices in the great state of Texas. Obviously, their headquarters is on Highway 6, and they want to take care of everybody's insurance, car insurance, homeowners insurance, you name it. Let Rollo Insurance take care of it for you. The website is rolloinsurance.com/TexAgs, 888-44-ROLLO. Rollo. All right, where's LSU vulnerable, guys? Let's talk about where we think that they're vulnerable, both offensively and defensively. Seth, start us off.
Well, I mean, I can only really truly speak about what A&M is good and where I think that they're most vulnerable, and that is like at our offensive line. I think we're really good, and even though we're losing DeSantis, I feel like you got a great matchup at tackle with the good defensive end Swinton. And I think that, they have a great, I wouldn't say great, a good defensive line. Their linebackers, they lost, of course, Harold Perkins, and now they've got the, whatever they call them, the honky badger over there. And so I think that up front, our front seven should do a good job against them, but they're not weak there. But I think that is where we're going to have the biggest advantage. And I think that we should be able to run the ball against them pretty well. And we have in the past. Our only bad game at it, I'd say, was last week, but I think that we can build on that.
I think that defensively we're going to do a good job against the run. I think our front seven's better than their front seven easily. I think our defensive line's better than their defensive line.
I'll give you that.
Is A&M's defensive line better than LSU's offensive line? I think they
are
are
their biggest challenge. Yeah, I think they are, because
Will Campbell's greatness notwithstanding.
Yeah, I mean, but you watch like the Arkansas game, they covered up Arkansas pretty well. Mm-hmm. They were. It wasn't just all big runs. They were getting their 4, 5, 6 yards pretty much every time they ran the ball. Our defense, dude, Elko has done such an amazing job with disguising blitzes and bringing pressure. Arkansas didn't do any of that. They're going to see things from our defense that they haven't seen all year. So they're going to get tested far beyond what they've been tested.
And also they'll have 110,000 fans going crazy, and that'll give them a split second edge, which is a big deal. No, I don't care who you are. That's a big deal when you're not getting off on the snap count when you should be.
And I think that probably the biggest, most important part for our game is to not give up the big plays in the pass.
Yes. Yeah.
Because, they'll try to nickel and dime you with their little swing passes out to the receivers, trying to pick up 4 or 5 yards. But then they'll just almost every drive, they're going to launch one.
And that's dangerous against, if there is a weakness in this defense, that has been it. It's not just the big plays too. It's the near misses on big plays. And that's because really in the last few weeks, what have they actually given up big play wise? The first quarter against Mississippi State, early on in that one, they hit one long one over the top. They had 2 big runs. Mm-hmm. Nothing after in the second half, nothing, 0.
Yeah.
Arkansas hit one on a great scramble that should have been a sack. That was it for 4 quarters.
Right.
Missouri hit one when the game was 34-0.
When they were holding Shamar Stewart.
When they tackled Shamar Stewart practically. So I could see a world where it doesn't, but it's enough that it scares you, because Mizzou did have one that they missed and one that was called back. And
well, it depends on how the game goes and how the scoring goes. If it's a 21-17 type game, that one big play in the pass game can hurt you.
Yeah.
If this turns into a 35-28 type of game, we can afford to give up one.
But you said it earlier, Steve. And he's been flashy this year. Is Connor, man? If he's dialed in, then I think that's a huge. Well, obviously it's a huge advantage, but I think that's a great plus for us, for something that we can take advantage of for them when they're rolling out their defense.
Where I think A&M can win is at the interior on both lines. Like LSU, I think Will Campbell's great. I think Emory Jones is good. He's an NFL tackle, but I think Will Campbell's great. Emory not nearly as good. So what's going to be interesting is that we keep talking about Campbell versus Scorton or Campbell versus Stewart. My thing is, when that's going on, watch the other guy.
Well,
because that to me is where they can eat.
Yeah.
But to me,
Turner.
but to me, it's the inside. LSU's line it's not bad at all on the inside, but it's not like it is at tackle. And then defensively, I think even without Basantis, damn, if they'd have had Chase, I would really stand firm on this. But Reed Adams, Coley, Shanahan, Dewberry's going to play some. I think those guys inside, I think that's where they can, you don't want to let Whit Weeks run and chase and pursue. That's where he'll kill you.
Yeah.
But I think A&M and Le'Veon Moss getting downhill is an advantage.
Yeah.
The advantage of the game, and this is what you mentioned, Connor, for A&M to win, I still think Major Burns, Jordan Gilbert, that LSU secondary can absolutely be had. The question is going to be, is Connor in rhythm and on target? Does he have the protection to do it and keep Swinton and those guys off of him? But if Connor is on, I think that's the weakness that I just won't know until Saturday night if A&M can truly exploit, because that's the real path, in my opinion, for A&M
when he's
to win.
on, it's such an advantage.
Yeah.
It's like ball game almost if he's on.
All right, we'll hit a break. We'll come back with the freak of the week and the sleeper of the week. Right now, we're talking Lewis Engineering. They're headquartered in Marshall, Texas, family owned and operated. Doug Lewis, it's a good Aggie. He runs it now. His grandfather started it back in 1961 during Vietnam, and he was making the handheld signal flares that they still make to this day. Doug's parents went to the University of Texas. That's all right. He's fixed the company by becoming the main guy there. They've done projects for the U.S. Department of Defense. Also are looking to take on any machining or metal fabrication project. They have over 40 employees, family owned and operated, out of a 50,000 square foot facility, and they specialize in high volume machining and metal plating projects. So if you need 100,000 pieces of high production, they're the place to do it for you. They're a turnkey supplier. Feel free to call Doug right now for a quote, 903-938-6754. That number for Doug Lewis is 903-938-6754, or visit them online at lewisengineeringco.com. That is lewisengineeringco.com. Right now for Costa Vida, right there in South College Station. Go check out Costa Vida when you're ready for some fresh Mex done the right way. They do have a breakfast menu. They're a great place to go for a morning meeting. Get your coffee, get your quesadillas on, your breakfast tacos on. Great place to go for lunch as well. Again, they are fresh Mex where every ingredient matters. When you go there, say hi to Holly. Not only is she a great Aggie, she's just an awesome person to talk to. And all the they support Aggie athletics all the time. They're not only at Kyle Field, which you can go get some food there this weekend against LSU, but they just like being at all the Aggie events. So go check out Costa Vida, Aggie owned and operated, 4501 Mills Park Circle in South College Station. Again, 4501 Mills Park Circle in South College Station. It is Costa Vida. We're TexAgs Live. We're at the Angry Elephant in South College Station having a great time. We'll be here for another 20, 30, 40, who knows how long the show will go. We'll keep it going until we get everything done. It is now time to do the Freak of the Week.
Do you feel like Seth? Do you feel like Steve? Do you feel like Steve would get thrown out of the Angry Elephant, like if you're here in college, like come in here?
Probably.
Let me try that again. It's time for the Freak of the Week.
It's the Freak of the Week.
Sorry,
Billy. Billy interrupted us. All right, man.
I didn't interrupt from
I got
the start,
this.
so.
I'm going to go with Le'Veon, man. I think that he has had a great year, and we're going to need him to have continue on in that great year in this game.
Good pick.
And, love to see him get 5+ yards of carry, and that just dial that up. And that's a good sign if we can get that going.
Yeah. Should I pick Moose?
LSU fans, they're probably scared of him.
They're terrified. No, I'm going to go Noah Thomas.
Okay.
I think this is a time for. He's had some really good catches this year and big plays. This is a big game. He's got to be a big target. I think Connor hopefully goes at him a couple times and gives him a chance at a deep ball, man. I mean, he's had some nice, big catches over the middle and made some runs after the catch, but yet to see him really make that big, 50-yard down the field catch.
I want to go Trey Zune because I think that would be massive if he just rose to the occasion, which he's done, by the way, all season. Quietly, no one talks about him, but I'm going to go with, man, I just think it's got to be, this is a game where 11-4 it's like you're being called out without being called out.
Mm-hmm.
You got to hear all about these LSU tackles and how good they are.
Mm-hmm.
And these are two future NFL defensive linemen going against two future NFL offensive tackles. And if you want to win the game, your best players have to win the game. And I think 11-4, if they rise up and you look into the game and we're walking out there going, man, those two dudes, they were all over Nussmeier and they were shutting down the running game, like you said. And you look at their stats. So it's those two, but let's just call it what it is. This A&M D-line needs to take over this football game. And they need to get after Nuss and shut down that run. And they need to have their best game of the year. And the reason I'm putting them Freak of the Week, and I'm saying they need to, but they also can. Mm-hmm. And I expect that they will.
It is now time for the Sleeper of the Week, presented by the Sleep Station. Go see Jared McLeod and ask about the Tempur-Pedic mattress or the Purple mattress in the Specs parking lot at Texas and Harvey and in front of the Lowe's at William D. Fitch and Highway 6. The website is thesleepstation.com. Steve McKinney, who's your sleeper?
I like the blanket. The lead, man.
I mean, get it? Did you do that on purpose? The sleeper and the blanket?
Really well played.
No,
he did. There's no way.
I could have claimed that.
He's my X factor on defense because.
Ooh, now we have a new segment.
Yeah, we need him.
The X factor. No, I think this is a huge game for a guy like him to step up. I mean, they depend on their receivers, not just when they're taking shots, but to move the ball on first and second down to stay ahead in the chains. They don't want to run the ball every time on first and second down. They like to throw their little out. What do you call those anyways? Little wide receiver screens. They love to throw those. You put too many people in the box, they're going straight to the wide receiver screen. So you got to have guys like him that are going to step up and make those tackles, keep them behind the chains where they're not getting those 5-6 yards.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I was up. I'm sorry. I'm going to go with Jabray Barber. I think that he's been playing well lately. I'd love to. I don't know. How do you say it then?
I think it's Jabray.
It's Jabray. My bad.
Says it.
I'm just reading it like
that's not bad. You've done. I mean, it could have been a lot worse.
That's really great for me. Come on, give me credit. No, but I think he's going to have a great game, and I'm excited to help watch him continue to play like he has since he's been healthy.
He's due to bust out just a big,
I know,
a big
man.
play.
Like on a short pass, just bust one out. It's coming.
He's been close.
I like that, Seth. I like that. First of all, I've got an interception.
Oh no!
From dare I say
Dalton
pick
Brooks?
six?
No, I don't think so. I've got an interception from Dalton Brooks. But my sleeper of the week, and it really shouldn't be, but it qualifies because he's a non-starter. I'm going to ride with number 18, Cassius Howell.
Oh yeah,
I think he makes a couple impact plays in this one. The guy last week, you look at his stat line and couple a sack, couple tackles behind the line of scrimmage, 3 pass breakups,
a non-defensive holding,
a non-defensive. No, that was
that was Howell, number 18.
Oh, that's right. That was
which one was that one?
That was infuriating.
He allegedly held the tight end.
Yeah,
trash.
Yeah, that's right. Was that the interception or was that?
I don't know. It was a ridiculous.
It was either interception or a play that got him off the field. Yeah,
it was a terrible.
But
put it on the list.
Cassius Howell was pretty disruptive and pretty impactful. And when you're talking about these good tackles and stuff, Scorton, Shamar Stewart, and then all of a sudden here comes this long, twitchy, really bendy edge guy and change of pace. I like him to make an impact play or two.
All right, let's do this. Let's hit a break. When we come back on TexAgs Live, we will do our Pick 6 presented by Prize Picks with our final countdown team here. Right now, we're talking about Bird Dog. Check out the website, birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt if you want to go on the TexAgs Wing Shoot, or if you just want some more information on it. November 6th or the 8th at Brady, Texas. It's going to be awesome. It's a 2-night upland shoot with some Aggie legends. There'll be some guided hunting, skeet shooting, axe throwing, cold beverages, Aggie fellowship, and live music from a country legend at a 5-star country ranch. That legend, by the way, Roger Craker, will be there. Tickets are $2,000. Only a few more spots are available. It's going to be a great time. It'll be my very first hunt that I've been on. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully you all can join us out there. And Bird Dog is basically an Airbnb for hunters and for ranches, right? Find the hunts you want to go on. Let them take care of all the action for you. Set up all the fun stuff to do it. Get all your meals and all that done by going to birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt. That is birddogit.com/TXAGS Hunt.
Final segment here at the Angry Elephant TexAgs Live presents. Thank you for Nick Savage clapping. Sir, you're reading your phone. You need to be clapping. All eyes on him. Still just typing away.
Shaming people in the audience.
He has no clue what I said. He's just totally.
I'm finding the picks real quick.
Hey, and this is brought to you by PrizePicks. Go to prizepicks.com/TexAgs. Use the code TexAgs to receive a guaranteed $50 once you play in $5 lineups. I will do the picks here, and we'll get stuff started. By the way, Billy is still in first place.
Barely.
The McKinney's in second.
Coming for you. That's my edge. One game.
One game.
One
over
game.
both of them.
Both of them. They're tied for second.
What's our record?
You are 24-18. I'm the inverse of that. The McKinney's 23-19.
Are you in last?
I'm dead last. I've had a disastrous season. All right, let's get things started. Number 12, Notre Dame. They're 6-1, taking on number 24, Navy, undefeated. 11 a.m. MetLife Stadium, ABC broadcast. Notre Dame is favored by 12.5.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and start this off with the Notre Dame covering this one. I just don't believe it.
Don't believe in the armed forces. That's Seth McKinney. Literally just said it.
Oh, I'm sorry.
We could make sure.
Team America.
I have no faith in the U.S. Navy.
Football.
Steve?
Yeah, I think I don't have any faith in them either. I'm going to take Notre Dame to cover.
Have we not really watched what Navy can do? And
no, we haven't.
Notre Dame with their struggles at times against the armed forces, both Army and Navy over the years. I feel like there's been several times where they've been close to being upset, once or twice actually upset, maybe.
But when have they ever taken them seriously? Is being my question. Like, I think they'll take them serious this time.
12.5's a lot, man. But I am actually going to agree with you guys. I think they go and beat Navy by a couple touchdowns.
By the way, I'm just looking at who Navy's played. They did score 56 on Memphis, who Memphis scored 44 on them. Memphis beat that giant that is known as Florida State, by the way. So just a little info there. Number 21, Missouri, 6-1 at Alabama, who's 5-2, 2:30 broadcast, Bryant-Denny Stadium. It's Alabama favored by 13.5.
Well, given what the trash you guys just talked and told me, I would have gone in blind on this one had I known.
We gave away a bucket.
Why would you do that?
I didn't know. I didn't know
This has been given information.
He would have never known.
I'm picking Alabama to cover this.
Can we just speed this up and say we all pick Bama? I watched Drew Pine. I watched Drew Pine for basically 2 quarters against Auburn, struggled to so much as even think he didn't even consider completing a pass. That guy sucks. He sucked at Notre Dame. He sucks now.
I was confident.
That guy's awful.
Drew Pine needs to ride the pine, huh?
Yeah.
I was really confident Seth was going to go with Missouri.
That is
I would have if I had not known this information.
That is not how you execute the portal for QB depth. That guy's terrible. So Alabama will just choke them. They might not just choke them out. They might be over after quarter and a half.
Yeah.
By the way, those of you listening on the Zone on AM 1150, we're going to probably keep going here on the YouTube page. So if you want to watch on YouTube and go back to Louis afterwards, go right ahead. Or of course, TexAgs.com. Number 3 game, number 20, Illinois, 6-1 at Oregon. Number 1, the Oregon is favored by 21.5.
Pick them up.
I mean, come on. Not that I have this huge faith in Oregon or I doubt or I love Bilma. I'm picking Illinois on this one. I don't know. That's just a lot of points. I just don't believe Oregon that much.
Yeah, I don't either, man. I mean, Illinois they've been pleasantly surprising this year. They play tough football.
Oh, they do. They just beat Michigan.
Yeah, yes. But I mean, they play tough football. I mean, I don't see them getting blown out like
wearing leather helmets.
I could see them getting beat, but not 21.
Or was that Indiana? Who wore the leather helmets?
That was
Illinois.
Yeah, that was Illinois. Yeah. I'll take Illinois to cover that.
Okay.
The Googler.
I'm looking something up right here.
Oh, here we go.
Okay. I was getting confused by which quarterback got hurt. I believe it was Indiana's, not Illinois. And so I'm going to go with. I actually am also going to go with Illinois to cover. at Oregon. I mean, it's just it's a big spread. I think Piglama coaches. Piglama is he's a good football coach. I don't think he's elite, but he's a good football coach. I think they'll have a plan and a way to kind of.
Is Illinois good?
No, yeah, he's Illinois good, but I think they'll find a plan to kind of keep that within arm's length. I think they'll make Oregon play Big Ten football, and Oregon will win, and they'll win by a couple of scores.
Number 5, Texas, 6-1 at number 25, Vanderbilt, 3:15, First Bank Stadium, SEC Network. Texas favored by 8.
Oh, I just got a text. One of my really good friends, one of the people from our typical lunch bunch, his daughter, he says, I won't say her name. His daughter, well, I guess it doesn't, dated Drew Pine in high school, and they are buddies. He is a good kid, and you dogged him.
Oh, way to go, buddy.
Good job, Billy.
Dog the kid.
That's somebody's boyfriend.
Quarterback.
That's so
terrible.
This is what you do to kids.
No, and people in general, just dogging everybody you see.
I haven't dogged Nussmeier. He's a good quarterback.
He's got a mother and a dad.
Yeah, think of the children.
And apparently an ex-girlfriend.
Sad.
Texas, Vandy.
Oh, yes. I hate Texas. I'm picking Vandy. Karen. It's all promotion. 18 and a half. And it's Vandy. What a great, fun pick. Come on.
Give me Vandy.
Do it, Billy.
Come on, Billy.
Leave a wet blanket.
Do it.
Pick them. Your favorite team on earth. Pick them.
I hate them. I hate them so much that I successfully jinxed them last week. My buddy that works at Georgia.
No, I never jinxed them. I was reverse jinxing.
We were during the game, Seth's like, you on there, group text where Seth's like, this game's unjinxable. There's no chance. Georgia's destroying them. It's like
this was halftime.
We're like,
yes, but it's the typical Steve going, oh, just wait till halftime. I like the, Eeyore over there.
The realist.
I'm over here trying to enjoy it like a concert.
And what happened?
By the way, it was Post Malone. So, yeah, I didn't have to go see him in Houston, okay? I made my way throughout the deep South Saturday. It was quite the trip. But I'm in the middle of the concert. I'm having to deal with U2 and Brauninger trying to jinx the game. I'd already assured a Georgia win by picking Texas, going all in. One of my buddies works at Georgia, and we're group texting, congratulating and stuff. He's like, he quoted me, which was an awesome quote, and I'll read it as I make my pick, which is going to be, it's actually going to be Vandy to cover, Texas to win. I do think the text was, he was quoting me and says, I think the Longhorns are going to roll in Austin, Chip, like as if I was talking to Chip Brown. And then he did the 2 hours later. But
nice.
No, I think Texas wins, but doesn't cover. I think Pavia and Vandy show a lot of fight.
That's my expectation, but I'm hoping old Pavia shows up.
But being serious, I just don't like that matchup for them necessarily, because I just think Texas's receivers against that, they're skill guys against the Vandy talent level.
Mm-hmm.
And I know you could say that about Bama too, but I think that Texas offense is clearly functioning, even though Georgia shut them down. They're functioning better than what Alabama's is doing right now. I think the last few weeks have shown that. And I just think Texas's defensive front, their D-line versus Vandy's O-line, is going to be an ass kicking. So how do you hold the ball for 40 minutes when you're getting throttled up front? I like
Pavia, baby. Pavia magic.
I think Pavia.
That's how you do it.
I think Pavia and Eli Stowers keep them in it.
Want another goalpost in the river.
But Texas wins. Vandy covers.
That'd be amazing.
I would love it though.
So good. That'd be so crazy.
It's not happening.
Number 3, Penn State.
I would be insufferable, so that to that level that it couldn't even happen. I've got a lot of payback to enact. I just need things to keep going in a certain direction.
Well, you got a game on November 30th.
Yeah, I'm trying to be quiet enough. I can't be completely quiet, but I'm kind of like just waiting.
Yeah, you don't need to write too many big checks.
Waiting, yeah.
Now and then.
You can write a little check though if A&M beats LSU this weekend.
Right. Let's do our job.
Number 3, Penn State, 6-0 at Wisconsin, who's 5-2, 6:30 at Camp Randall Stadium. NBC broadcast. Penn State favored by 6.5.
I think, man, I'm picking Penn State. That's a That's almost a go all in type bet right there.
Yeah, I hate that cut. I hate that spread because I want to pick Wisconsin. I think Wisconsin will keep it close, if not win outright.
Well, then pick it.
Yep,
I'm picking it. I'm picking Wisconsin. So we got to pick some games different.
Yeah. I'm going with Seth on this one. James Franklin's had a rough week.
Yeah,
they're asking him about the stuff with the former Penn State players. They're not, in the media, like it was a tense situation yesterday. I think he's gonna go in pissed off and ready to just go out there and the football coach just wants to football. And I think they're tired of, being asked the tough questions. That comes with it. But
yeah,
I think they're gonna be ready to go out there.
Either be in first place next week or third.
They're really a good team. Penn State is this year.
Here we go. Number 8 LSU. They're 6-1. At number 14 Texas A&M.
Blackout.
Still on his phone. A&M is 6-1 as well. 3:15. Kyle Field, ABC broadcast. Texas A&M is favored by 2.5.
Oh,
Are they still
on this one? 2.5, whatever.
I think when they write this, we keep it at
Why don't
this.
we check that line? Because that's not for A&M
No,
games.
we're keeping this line.
No, I don't think we
No,
are.
we are.
I don't think that's fair.
What's fair is what's
That's how we've
texted
always
out
done
has
it.
always been that way.
We have to,
Are you
man.
changing the laws
The
now?
Alabama line's like 18.5 now.
I'm just curious.
That's how we've always done it.
But I'm curious to see how badly you're
find
a
it.
team
Like I
of-
said, into Kyle Field, 2.5 underdogs according to kickoff Saturday, 7:30. This is according to ESPN Bet.
right now.
That's the most recent column. Anybody else? What?
No, I'm
Minus one.
minus one.
So
A&M is
your
covering
crack
this.
team of experts can't make a simple number adjustment on a Friday.
Well, you know what?
Look,
I'm in favor of it because I'm picking A&M.
Let's do this.
Okay, so you want to play this game for now on? We just keep doing it every week.
It's A&M game, and I'm picking them. So yes,
We're about to do the show, guys. Can you look up the 5 lines? There's one. Okay. 2.5. Cross it out. 1.
Hey, guess what?
18. Cross it out. 19.5.
Hey, executive editor.
Oh
Let me tell you how this works.
Okay.
It takes me 9 months to get responses from people who aren't on the show for their picks.
I'm just talking.
No, I'm just saying I start on Wednesday
That
and
is
I
true.
pray that I get it by
You
Friday.
do have some remote people that you have to.
Thank you.
Okay, so for that, I will give you. But this thing about making it like you're asking this crew over here to split the freaking atom to go change stuff. I mean,
Oppenheimer.
God forbid you ask someone to do something under crunch time. Not you, but just anybody in 2024. It's like heads start exploding. If there's any level of like pressure,
would you like to change?
You know what,
up
Nick?
to the minute?
I will say Nick and Zane handled a very high pressure situation this week with the Feinbaum show because things were falling apart all around us. They weren't hearing good. I think it was on their end. I was getting them like, y'all can't screw this up. Let's go. We're getting tired of the issues with the new studio. And these two delivered under pressure.
Let's go, dude. There you go, Zane.
There's also graphics that we make. We have to make graphics in advance. There's a lot that goes into it.
There's been some rumors about Team Nuño. I'm not going to say there's been whispers.
Yeah.
You put together a weak team is what you're saying.
What I've now successfully done is cost myself 10 minutes later today.
It usually comes back to leadership.
If I'm being serious.
Hey, wait.
Serious
Are you
issue?
comparing me to Bronny? I've never followed up. I do it in the moment. Why to get awkward?
Let's get back
I'm
to
just
the
kidding. I know I've got a lot 10 minutes later today. That was.
I'm not going to call you.
Are they
Trust
seriously
me.
talking about?
All right. I'm picking A&M.
A&M is going to
I'll
cover.
fire people now.
Had a bit of a narrative on why I picked A&M, and that is because Connor, all right, is going to go out and have the type of game he did against Mizzou, and not the type of game he did against Notre Dame, nor which last week was better than Notre Dame. But anyways, I think he's going to be on, man. I think he's going to be well protected despite all the trash talk, and I can't wait to see it. It's going to be a fun game, the greatest atmosphere we've seen in a long time. All right, and blacked out. I'm excited. I'm hyped up. I am.
I'm blacking out just thinking about it.
Every day's a blackout day for Steve, so this is just normal.
It's almost like you picked the uniform.
They are pretty freaking sweet.
They are. I like
Those
it.
are sweet.
And I love everything they're doing right now.
They're top. People are talking about us, man, and that's what it's all about. I love it.
Well, it's fun for the players. It's fun for the people in that building.
Even though Bronny's not a big fan.
I know, apparently, dude.
He isn't?
He's like old ag.
Listen,
Like OB.
The clouds.
Listen, anybody They
do that.
Anytime he doesn't agree with anything fashionable, then you're doing it right.
Yeah.
Like,
and of all the people,
you've seen him in the gym.
Black all the time, you know.
Like, I think he's trying to get sponsored. Right, he wears these hideous fishing shirts to the gym now that look like you should be like on a boat in Cabo somewhere
to work,
like pursuing like the Great Marlin or something. Yeah. Like, I have no idea. He's wearing those Magellan.
You do get sweaty when you're reeling in a Marlin, though.
I mean, he was.
Yeah, they're fishing,
I wouldn't know.
They're fishing shirts. They're not.
Saying.
He was sleeveless one time I went in there. He was not wearing sleeves.
There's nothing wrong.
Fishing shirt.
There's nothing wrong with sleeveless.
Everything wrong with sleeveless, dude.
If you're going sleeveless to the gym, man, you should check yourself, dude.
Yeah.
That is
before you wreck yourself.
That is not appropriate.
He goes sleeveless.
He's a man.
All I want to see. Do you ever barbed wire tattoo around your bicep?
0 barbed wire, 0 tags.
Yes, he does.
Sorry,
come on, dude.
I don't mean to offend anybody in the audience, but
Crowley.
If I start wearing a midriff shirt to show off the abs, then you can beat me up.
You know how old we are. You know how old we are whenever Brad Crowley shows up in the like mid 90s with a barbed wire armband tattoo, and it was actually cool.
Yeah, everybody loved it.
And then Dan gets one. I'd like to. The Lions beat needs to say, "Can we see your tattoo?" I wonder if he still has that thing.
Oh, he does.
Yeah,
that was just so off.
Yeah, I loved it. It was
color for Dan though, just to show up one day with a tattoo.
Random thing. It was awesome though. It was great.
What was your first tattoo?
We don't need to get into all that.
Yeah, what was that? Steve would have to explain it to everybody.
Get into it.
Yeah.
So I'll walk in.
It's already past the time, sir.
Steve's bedroom.
We got to wrap it up.
And I'm like, he's like, I go in there and he's shirtless. I'm like, what? What is it? And it's just this flying lion with like rainbow.
That happened after a long night at the tap. Thanks to
Lumpy's fault.
Lumpy's fault. I got a tattoo.
All this
griffin. This is a griffin. It's a lion /
eagle or whatever it is.
You never heard of this? Dude, maybe you should read some.
Like he did.
Oh my God.
Tell your mom.
Oh, yeah, I did not.
Yes,
I did not.
Yeah.
I think it was like Steve went swimming or something. Oh my gosh. What have you done to your body?
All this detour after I had a line that you disagreed with.
All right. Did Bill, y'all pick? I don't know.
All
right, Billy.
I would go A&M. 2.5 makes it obviously a lot harder because I think A&M's going to win. I think either team wins 27-23. And if this was in Death Valley, I think the home field is the difference here. I mean, I really do. I think the 12th man and Kyle Field
loud
and the level that this A&M defense gets to. See, people think about how we're worried about. Nussmeier is not worried about the noise. I heard the SEC Network guy saying he's not worried about the noise. LSU plays in noise all the time. He's like, they've been at South Carolina. The guy literally said they've been at South Carolina.
Oh, I heard that.
They've been in Fayetteville. He even said they played USC in Vegas. I'm like,
Vegas.
Garrett Nussmeier and LSU. He sat on the sideline and watched a lot of loud games last year. He played in the. Well, that's not an insult. He was behind a Heisman Trophy winner.
Sounded like an insult.
But no, my point is he has not started a game in this kind of environment. And when he did at South Carolina, which wasn't even close, it's an 11 and Columbia. A&M's walking into a damn hornet's nest next week, and we'll worry about that later. But that was an 11 a.m. game, and he played poorly because they fell behind 17-0 there. He has not stepped into an environment like this. It's just factual. Now, how he handles it remains to be seen. But it's not just Nussmeier. It's the offensive line.
Yeah.
How do they handle it with false starts?
They had multiple false starts in Fayetteville.
Yeah. How do your coaches handle it? Getting the signals in. Like it's not just how does Nussmeier handle the crowd? And I do think that's a question mark too. But here's the thing that no one's talking about. And I saw it with LSU against Ole Miss, right? When you're at home, what's the biggest difference when you're playing at home versus road, in my opinion, is the defensive intensity level. Like any great team, program, whatever, when you play them at home, and Georgia made an exception out of that last week because they went to Austin and said, this is our house. But typically when you play at home versus road, like your start to finish 4-quarter defensive intensity sometimes goes off the charts because that place gets so loud and you're so into it and energized. And so that's why I think A&M wins this game. And I think they cover by that score, not by a lot, but I think it's a 3-4 point game.
Yeah. I like it. I'm picking A&M. I mean, I think it could be a close game, but I also think it could be one where we pull away, a couple touchdowns.
Wow.
I think
you like it.
I think it's
That's on you, man. I like it.
It's a very evenly matched team. Yeah. But like you guys have said, I mean, I watched the South Carolina game. I watched the Ole Miss game. Those games could have easily gone the other way.
Yeah.
And I don't think LSU's is great. I think they're a really good team, but I don't think they're as great as people are propping them up to be. And they are coming into a storm tomorrow night, a dark Aggie storm.
Hellstrom.
Yeah. Hellstrom. Thank you, Seth.
There is
for that.
By the way, I play some good music tomorrow night.
Well, Seth had a great idea.
And I'm taking
full credit for it.
My idea is DJ Magic Mike, wherever you are right now. Is that
better be Magic? Because he's a buddy of mine. He's talking a lot of crap on Twitter.
Good.
He's kind of appointed himself like the enforcer where people go like tattle on the other team to him. And they're like, attention. And he's like, I'm on it, like feeling myself, like I'm on it. And if you know him, it's not even like how his personality is. He's like, I'm on it.
But all I want,
and it's like, if you're gonna say that,
better be on it.
You better kick ass tomorrow.
As we're after the 2-minute break that college football.
I don't want to hear no Mr. Brightside.
No, I know. I'm not saying that. I'm saying after the 2-minute break when we're kneeling it out with about a 10-point lead to put this game away. We crank on, call them Baton Rouge, and we go crazy, man. That's what I'm talking about.
When we're kneeling to win,
it's not his worst.
Calling Baton Rouge,
not your worst idea.
I would do that. Would be.
We got to be kneeling to win, DJ Mike.
They're bringing on the flip side. On the flip side, they're bringing their band.
Oh,
and you don't want them singing their. You don't want them.
It makes me mad.
You don't want them singing their song.
I don't care. They can sing whatever they want as long as they don't do that. Like
they're going.
Oh my word!
Get ready for it.
I know they will.
There's
the worst part about it.
Game.
If A&M were to win, there's a second.
What do they call that
song? I'd like to hear the Aggie band learn. Yeah. These guys don't even know what I'm talking about.
Wait, what?
Attached.
What?
Neither do you. Never mind.
I wasn't paying attention.
I said there's another song. I said there's another song I'd like to hear the Aggie band learn and play if A&M wins that game. But you guys have no idea what I'm even talking about.
I do.
Everyone else
know what you're talking about. It's an LSU song, right?
What is it?
Well, I'm not going to talk about it. That's not appropriate.
Okay, so Seth knows, Steve doesn't, Nuño doesn't. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Big game tomorrow night.
Hey,
biggest game of this rivalry. The most important A&M LSU game ever played. I think it's going to be the most heated. I think it's going to be 4 quarters of really intense, incredible SEC football. And it's the biggest game at Kyle Field
since when?
At least in the I don't know since when, because maybe
2021,
maybe ever, because when
2013 Bama meaningful. This is a huge game. You're talking meaning, yes.
I don't mean anticipated. It was a 2013 A&M Bama, but just like,
but for what it means to a season, yes. Like I don't recall, a game this big in years. It's been a long.
What is on? Yeah, what's at stake? What's on the table for A&M football? Quality of opponent. Where both teams are at a certain point. You factor all of that in. I think you're actually, and then what's out there in the SEC, like it's there to be had. There's no Nick Saban in Alabama sitting there that you're not going to beat them regardless of what happens this week. The race is wide open. This is the biggest one.
Let's do it.
Period.
Hey, by the way, I wanted to ask you before we go.
Jersey, by the way.
Thank you very much. I was going to ask you, is it true about the Nuño's people are mad at me? Just kidding. We'll see you next time.
Nice.
Thank you to the Andrew
So good.